Hello, listenistas. This is the 55th episode of the Funfiltered podcast. That is Sam.
Hi.
I'm Jordan. And I was right.
Right, okay. Firstly, let's address listenistas.
Listenistas.
So we're back to that, are we?
Back to what? I've never said listenistas
No, not that specifically. But back to a gimmick.
Was that a gimmick?
Well, kind of. The gimmick of like a new term for the listeners every time we record.
Okay.
Which you used to do all the time.
Okay.
Or like say it in fucking Hindi or something.
I've never said it in Hindi.
No, Japanese.
That's the one time I did that, was the Japanese.
Japanese, you did one, you played the intro on a flute or something.
I did do that on a
Things
recorder.
like that. Because you had to beat me.
This won't dissuade me, Sam. I know what you're doing. You're referencing what I'm doing so that I can't do it again.
That was a springboard into basically acknowledging that it's been a while, listeners.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
so
Between recordings, I don't even know when we recorded the last one.
Is that
pre-Halloween? It's the 26th of November. The last time we recorded was probably mid-October, right?
Mm-hmm. Point is that why? Have you had too much time to think about it?
Oh no. No, that was just kind of like, I need to like intro with something. I wanted to get past the intro.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I'm right about something.
Go on, what are you right about then?
Should we do the coming up before I get into it? I've no idea how long it's going to last.
Okay, yeah, let's do the coming up now.
Okay, coming up.
Jordan informs me of a scientific discovery.
We review Dune, Part 1.
A new installment of Sam's Lexicorner double.
We review Last Night in Soho.
And we review No Time to Die.
Mr. Bond. Yeah, so I was right.
What were you right about?
I was right to be afraid.
Of?
Crabs.
Okay, go on.
So this is a thing that you know of.
Yes, my fear of crabs.
My fear of crabs. I've said it before on the podcast, I'll say it again. A crab is just an armoured, weaponized spider. That's what a crab is.
Okay.
That alone should be like cause for us to be concerned. Like, why are we just allowing them to be?
But you could describe most animals in a way that would make them sound sinister.
Okay.
Human is like a chimp, but we know how to use tools. And we've evolved consciousness.
Yeah.
And we're tribal and we can like kill each other with thermonuclear weapons.
I feel like hypersonic weapons. Isn't that the
that's the new one? Yeah.
That's the China.
Yeah.
China.
Na dead. Yeah.
I thought you were going to end with a...
Don't think about that.
Yeah, no. So, but I feel like the phrase armoured weaponized spider, even if there is slight...
exaggeration?
No exaggeration.
Oh, it's an exaggeration.
It's not an exaggeration.
Well, it's not a spider.
It's not a... Granted, it's not like a casual description of a crab.
No.
But it is an accurate description.
Well, weaponized.
And it is a frightening description. Would you say so?
Yeah, but you're fear-mongering. This is my point.
No, I'm not.
You are fear-mongering.
Crabs
You're trying to instill a fear of crabs.
I'm only fear-mongering in the sense that people just seem to be alright with crabs.
I'm alright with crabs.
Yeah, why are you alright with crabs?
They're tiny.
It's not... No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Have you seen a coconut crab?
Probably not.
It's bigger than a bin.
What? A bin's relative. What kind of bin?
A wheelie bin.
It's bigger than a wheelie
There's
bin.
like... I'm sure it's called a coconut crab, but yeah, if you go on Google and you Google coconut crab, it's like a dog. Like, it's climbing up the side...
Dog's not bigger than a wheelie bin.
It's climbing up the side of a wheelie bin, and it's like the length of the wheelie bin. It's huge.
I wouldn't go near it.
Like, what's the biggest spider you can think of?
I'm not like a wildlife-y kind of person.
Just think of like a big spider.
I don't know, tarantula.
Okay, I think there's bigger spiders than that.
Yeah, there are.
But I think, from memory, I think a camel spider is the biggest spider. And that's like
that sounds right.
That's a spider.
Yes.
That's like, you see it on the table, you burn down the whole postcode.
Sure.
It's a big spider.
Yes.
Coconut crab dwarfs a camel spider.
Okay.
So I understand that, like, relatively speaking, it's like smaller than some living creatures.
Yeah.
But like they still get too big.
But they don't
a crab.
But they're not threatening, are they? Like, it's not necessarily size.
It's got
size doesn't matter.
It's got weapons.
No, but it doesn't. Right.
Its like, front two legs evolved into weapons.
The size isn't necessarily the important thing. Mosquitoes are the deadliest creature on Earth.
Okay.
Wasps, etc.
Yeah.
Size is irrelevant. It's what they can do. I just don't think a crab really has that much to offer. It doesn't have that much to be scared about.
Well, it can pinch you.
Oh no.
You say that.
Pinch you.
You say that.
Yeah.
No one wants to get pinched by a crab.
No one wants to get pinched by a crab.
No one wants to get dismantled by a crab. There's footage, isn't there, of like an army of crabs. There's like a corpse on a beach.
A corpse?
Yeah, like an animal corpse, not like a human corpse, but there's like a corpse on the beach, and the crabs just like swarm over it, and it's just gone.
But that
there might be bone, but it's gone.
But if I was not a corpse, I'd just like kick them away and stuff.
Yeah, but like one crab, maybe.
A couple of crabs. A few crabs. Many crabs.
If you went to Christmas Island, you probably wouldn't be able to kick them away, would you?
I don't know.
That's the thing.
I'm not scared of crabs, is the point.
There's no like place on Earth that the spiders have just colonized as their own. You go to Christmas Island.
No, there is. There's a town somewhere that's been completely overrun by spiders.
Okay.
Webs everywhere, like the whole town. Massive fucking like Aragog type spiders.
Okay. Yeah. It's not an island.
No, but it's like it's the equivalent of one. It's like where is it? I can't remember who's talking about it now. But it's a town. It's a total town that's been overrun by we aren't bothering to try and get it back.
Okay.
It's over.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. In that one instance,
yeah,
crabs and spiders are on equal footing.
Yeah.
But
they're not, because spiders have 8 legs and crabs have 10.
Yes.
So they're not on equal footing.
No, crabs win that.
Yeah, but you're scared of spiders too.
Yeah, but I'm terrified of crabs. Are you
more scared of crabs than you are of spiders? Right, okay.
Yes. I could... I've never really been around like a camel spider, like a big proper spider.
Never really? Or not at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
I've seen house spiders and I've seen garden spiders that are like simultaneously small but also like big.
Right.
Have you ever seen those spiders where it's a tiny creature and yet somehow you can see all of its like detail? You can see its eyes, and even though it's like tiny, somehow that like anomaly of nature.
Yes.
Yeah, but I imagine that I would be uncomfortable in a room with a spider. I could not be in a room with a crab.
Right.
But this is just my point, right?
Yes.
Because I brought this up, I think like the Halloween episode was the first time I made reference to it publicly. And I was just like, oh yeah, crabs are genuinely the worst. They're horrible, they're this, they're that. And you and Eddie were both just like, oh, Jordan, what will his silly minds think up next?
Right. What have you seen then?
There's been an article, right?
Okay.
Basically, like confirming that it is now officially recognized by science and by the government.
How can you say something's officially recognized by science?
Well, science was like, oh, we've noticed something.
Hello.
Yeah. It's like, we've noticed this thing, and the government went, oh, you have. We're going to
which government?
The UK government.
Right, okay.
Because if you go on the UK government... Is that not the UK government website?
Yes, it is, yeah.
It is the UK government website, and they have confirmed that lobsters, octopuses, and crabs are now recognised as sentient beings.
Okay.
Crabs... They're sentient.
I don't know what the definition is of... I mean, I know what the word sentient means, but I don't know what the parameters of sentience are.
I think
don't know what the lowest...
In this instance, they can feel pain. That's why it was...
they can feel pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think it's like...
I don't think they're self-aware.
Yeah, like up until now, they... I think the definition was any creature with a backbone is automatically like considered sentient.
A mammal is sentient.
Yeah, because it can feel pain. But now... The creatures of that ilk, lobsters, crabs, calamari,
they're
octopuses.
They're also sentient.
Yes, because their nervous system allows them to feel pain.
Okay. And this makes them scarier to you.
Yes, because they're sentient.
But again, I don't think... It's not like AI, is it? Where it's become self-aware. Like the crabs, and they now have consciousness.
Well, why wouldn't it be?
How can I answer that?
Why wouldn't it be, though? We didn't think they could feel pain. Now they do. What's to say that like they can't like... You know, they might be able to recognize themselves. They might be able to strategize. Like they might. We've learned that we don't know anything about them.
No, we've learned they're sentient.
But we've learned they're sentient, right?
Yeah.
But things are starting to fall in place, and it's actually worrying me now.
Do you not think that? I would say, obviously, research is being conducted all the time on all types of fauna.
Yeah.
Do you not think that we would have detected by now if they had consciousness or anything like that? Like pain, I imagine, is a slightly harder dimension.
That was going to be what I was going to say. Yeah. It took us until now to figure out that they could feel pain.
Yes, but if something knows what it's doing, you can kind of see that.
Oh, crabs know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Sam, they walk sideways.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just like, oh, a crab. Crabs walk sideways. Isn't that novel? No. They're strafing.
What, from gunfire?
No, from us. Like, they're keeping us in... They're keeping an eye on us.
Right, okay.
And didn't we had a friend, right, who recently went crabbing, right? Crabbing was an activity we knew nothing about.
Yeah.
And we learned through this friend, who was being taught by people who went crabbing frequently, that the best bait to go crabbing with is bacon. Mm-hmm. What business does a crab have enjoying bacon? Because correct me if I'm wrong, Sam. Isn't a pig the animal that we're most like biologically similar to?
Yes.
So why are we just like...
But hang on. You've already said they devoured a corpse.
Yeah.
So why is bacon that much of a...
I don't know. That's what we were told.
Surprise.
Well, because why?
Well, they obviously eat flesh.
How many pigs have you seen on a beach?
How many pigs on a beach?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it depends. Are you being figurative?
Say I'm not. What answer do you have waiting in the wings?
Well, if you're being figurative and you're just talking about like, oh, he's a pig, then none. If you're talking about if you're talking about actual pigs, several.
That was the
several pigs. No, I've never seen a pig on a beach.
No.
But it's flesh, isn't it? And it's dead flesh. Bacon's dead flesh, so they just like dead flesh.
Yeah.
But
it's not fish, which they're presumably eating all the time,
right?
And it's not sea-dwelling.
Well, it's novelty, isn't it?
It's not sea-dwelling mammals.
You go, ooh, it doesn't smell like piss. What's that? It smells like burning flesh.
Yeah, okay. But what if you were being crabbed?
If I was a crab being crabbed?
If you were a crab being crabbed. Or if you were like...
interesting hypothetical.
Or whatever the human equivalent of crabbing is, right?
Of being crabbed.
Yeah, where someone has put out bait to capture you.
Yeah.
What's more likely...
Love bombing.
What?
That's the human equivalent of crabbing.
No, just like... No, not emotionally. Just like to get you from there to here.
It depends, doesn't it? I mean, like...
But this is my question. What is more likely to attract you? Your favourite meal that you eat on a fairly regular basis, or something that you ate like maybe once 20 years ago?
Right.
What's more likely to do it? Because I can't imagine that they're going to be eating bacon and like humans much.
Yeah.
Compared to a dolphin or a fish.
What if what if their diet, say, the top 9 things they eat are fish and mollusks, different mollusks, different things.
Yeah.
Right? And then number 10 or 20 or 30 on the list is bacon.
Okay.
Let's just say that.
Right.
No, I don't know how they would. But they eat something that's similar to bacon or has a similar chemical or something like that.
Okay.
The piggy pheromone.
Right.
Okay. And let's say that's 30th on the list.
The Oink chromosome.
The Oink chromosome, yeah, exactly. Oh, let's keep going with this. The babe protocol. Yeah, so it's 30th on their list. So let's say I'm a crab and I'm surrounded daily by the top 29 things on my list.
Yes.
I can have it whenever I want.
Okay.
So the 30th, when it's dangled toward me, I make a lunge for it.
Okay.
But that's not because I prefer it to the other things. It's because I don't need to go seek that out. Like, it's over there. I can just have it.
Right.
I'm not falling for that shit. But, this is kind of different.
Okay.
It might be worth having a look.
And you think this is true of every crab?
Well,
because we've established they're sentient now. They're basically just people.
Sure.
Like, yeah, they've got like religion and all sorts now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you think that every crab is just like... like they have, they're like...
I don't think crabs have personalities is the thing.
That thing
yeah.
that I consume so infrequently, I recognise it as being a treat.
Yeah.
I'm going to go after that. And it works every time.
I think we need to stage an intervention on your anthropomorphism.
Okay.
Because it's affecting your life in several different ways.
Okay.
Firstly, your diet.
I didn't commission this study that found that crabs were sentient. You know this, right?
Really?
No, I didn't.
I'm supposed to believe that.
I have written proof from the UK government.
Okay,
Boris Johnson has specifically written a letter saying Jordan didn't do this.
Didn't do this, okay.
We want you to know because we don't want to lose credibility.
Yeah. Right. What's your point with that?
That I was like worried about crabs. I was like, oh, crabs, they're just like a horrible thing that I have to deal with the fact that they're just there.
But they're not there, though.
No, but they
have to deal with their existence some way, nowhere near
I share a dimension with them. I have to live with that.
Right.
But now...
You said there's something like this on the last episode.
What?
Where you were like, no, it's just the fact it exists.
Oh, yeah.
I know I don't have to deal with it.
Roast potato flavoured crisps. Because your argument was, well, just don't have them.
Yeah.
And I was like, fine. But I feel like that argument is used quite a lot. And
it's a pretty simple one.
It's a pretty simple one, but like, how many things do we have to keep ignoring before we just don't pay attention to anything? Like, I could not have roast potato crisps, but my whole problem...
Is this like that quote? Like, first they took, the doctors, but I was not a doctor, so I didn't say anything. Then they took the blah, blah. Is it that? Is it the equivalent of that?
No, it's...
How many things do we have to stop ignoring until, like, one day we are the roast potato favorite crisps?
No, my point is like that my problem is that they exist. Me not having them doesn't fix that problem.
Yeah, but that's quite fascistic of you, isn't it?
I don't think so.
You want to stop people...
There's a problem. I want to solve the problem. I'll just ignore the problem. Okay.
What's the problem, though?
Well, in this case, it's that crabs are sentient now.
They're sentient. But the only thing that's changed...
Not just now, that they have been for the whole time. And we've just been letting them get on with it.
Okay,
rather than keeping an eye on
them. Briefly return to the anthropomorphism thing.
Okay.
Because we know about your relationship with food.
Yeah.
You assign an animus to inanimate things.
Right.
I can't eat that chocolate rabbit, for it is like a rabbit.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Nonsense.
It's really not.
No, it really is. There's that.
And it's not literally a rabbit.
Yes. It is made to resemble one in chocolatey form.
Yes.
But it's not a rabbit. And now...
It's still...
You have this paranoia.
Having a good time that I would be ruining by consuming it.
You're worried about this so-called sentience of crabs.
It's not so-called. Science has confirmed it.
Yeah, I'm saying so-called sentience because while it's sentience, I think that word is obviously generally misunderstood.
Okay.
People think of something being sentient as being self-aware.
Yeah.
And that's different.
Okay.
So the only bit of knowledge, your knowledge that's changed, the only thing that's changed for you about crabs, right, you're terrified of them, obviously. Do you also hate them?
Divine hate.
Do you hate them? Do you have like, you're really like, oh, if I could fucking kill them all. Like, is it like that? Or is it purely, I just don't want them near me?
Yeah, it's that.
Right.
Like, I would kill all crabs, but that would just be to get rid of the crabs.
Oh, you would kill all crabs?
Yeah, but not out of hatred, just because they need to be gotten rid of.
But you're never around them. There's never a risk, really, of you being around a crab.
I'm very rarely around terrorists. I'm still afraid of terrorists and terrorism and recognise the damage that can do.
How are they equivalent?
Well,
terrorism, it can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
And it could kill you.
And crabs can't?
No. Crabs just can't happen anywhere.
You can't. No, it can't happen anywhere.
We're not living in Magnolia.
No, but it's the same with terrorism, right? A terrorist doesn't just appear somewhere. It has to be brought... It has to be brought to that location. It brings itself to that location.
The terrorist has to be brought to the location.
Yeah, it's like, it decides, like, I'm going to go to this place and I'm going to do this now.
But it's a well-established, it's a well-known fact of nature that crabs can't commute.
No, they might not be responsible for their own commute. We move crabs around.
Yeah, like, on the coast and the sea and stuff.
No, like how many...
And we have them at restaurants.
Yeah, city restaurants. Like,
you're worried that there's going to be an exodus of crabs.
Just think about it, though. How many crabs are in Cardiff right now?
Yeah, I often think about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably hundreds.
Probably.
Maybe thousands.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead crabs.
Well, they cook lobsters alive.
Yeah, do they do the same for crabs? No, they put a fucking nail through it, don't they?
Yeah, but in the kitchen before they cook it.
Right. So they get them alive.
I'm pretty sure that, like, most of those creatures, they do cook them alive.
Okay.
Which is what, like... It's weird. The article said that, like... Oh, we recognise that crabs and lobsters can feel pain. But it's not going to, like, change anything.
So they're
on a list now. But yeah, the whole point is that we throw lobsters into the pot.
Yes.
Boiling water. But apparently that's just, like... I don't know if that's changing or
callous.
not.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only thing it would... The ability of something to feel pain and experience higher thought is the thing that ranks the animal kingdom, isn't it? It's like, it is different to kill a dog than to kill a rat than to kill a fly. They're not the same. I don't give a shit about killing a fly. I don't give a shit about killing a rat. I give a shit about killing a dog.
Yeah.
I give a shit about killing a dolphin.
Oh, I think that was a recent thing as well. South Korea have announced that they're going to ban the consumption of dog meat. Which was a nice... Like,
I read that as well, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice that they're doing that.
Yeah, so you're worried that there's going to be, at some seafood restaurant in Cardiff, there's going to be an exodus of crabs, and that's going to happen on a day that you're around.
Yeah.
And they're going to surround you, devour you, which you already knew before the sentience, but now it's the fact that maybe they might know what they're doing as
The fact that they might enjoy it.
They won't enjoy it. This is the thing. The only thing that's changed...
What's that supposed to mean? Am I not consumable enough for you, Sam?
There's too much of you to go around.
No, if you got enough crabs.
I don't know how much, what's the portion for a crab?
Which, if they're sentient, they might be able to communicate, coordinate.
Save it for later, as they think of pincers. That's how they communicate. Well, they're not going to say save it for later, are they? Well, so it's like doing a thing with the pincers.
Like you didn't even go to sign language, you just started smashing your hands together.
Yeah, pincers.
As if that communicates anything, other than just sort of whatever I want to tell you, I'm doing it with some urgency.
I think animals have modes of communication that probably don't look... that seem to have very little variance as far as we are concerned.
Right.
When a whale goes... I don't know. I can't tell a hello from a goodbye as far as a whale is concerned. So...
But other whales can.
And other crabs know that means save it for later. Anyway.
This is one of those instances where I do wish we were recorded. Because that
filmed. Yeah.
It wasn't just the fact that you're smashing your hands together, it's that you seem to curl up when you're doing it.
I was being a crab.
Yeah.
Yes, so the reason I asked if you hated them was because the only fundamental aspect that has changed in your understanding is that now, if they're killed, or if we stamp on a crab, it's hurt.
Oh, you're asking if surely I should enjoy the fact that they feel pain.
You should enjoy it because, sentience in this case, I would imagine, does not imply that they can do maths and stuff. I would say it probably means that if you stamp on its pincer, somewhere in its physiology, a part goes.
We might be sharing the rest of eternity together as some crabs.
Well, they were here before us.
They have
more right than we do to be here.
And if they can feel pain, assume that they didn't once feel pain, and then they've
evolved the capacity for pain.
They've evolved the capacity.
How could that have an evolutionary benefit?
Because that's the first step, right? First you can feel pain, then you develop maths, then admin, then strategy.
Then Tesla.
Yeah. Tesla comes after, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I just that... Things are starting to fall into place with crabs a bit now.
What do you mean? The world's catching up to your paranoia.
Well, science is catching up.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the fact that they will...
I don't remember you turning to me 5 years ago going, I'm telling you, crabs feel pain. I didn't
specifically say that. I said they're up to something.
Is them being able to feel pain tantamount to them being up to something?
Well, that's the thing. We weren't keeping an eye on them. They could very well be up to something.
Are you saying because we've discovered something new, that means anything is possible?
There may be more to discover about crabs.
Right.
And
there is more to discover about crabs.
Yeah, and what the hell is waiting for us?
But the nuances, I think the big things we know about crabs, we know that they're not self-aware.
Well, they're sentient, though.
Which means they feel pain.
What else?
Nothing.
You would have said that... No, because last week, if I brought this up to you last week, you would have went, they don't even feel pain. I
wouldn't. You said, told me the science has confirmed that they feel pain.
Yeah,
Why would I doubt it?
Yeah, now, but a week ago, before this discovery was even made. Right, I think this is literally the last couple of days.
Okay. You're saying, had you said to me they can feel pain?
No, if I said to you, we should be worried about crabs.
Yeah.
You would have just gone, the crabs are nothing. They don't do this, they don't do that, they don't feel pain. They're nothing.
Yeah.
But now, we know they feel pain.
Right.
So what's to say? What's to say that as I say, what's to say there isn't more to discover?
There is more to discover, but again, it's the fine points, the nitty-gritty.
20 years from now, we could find out that they do indeed have self-awareness. They can recognize themselves in the mirror, and then you will just be going, they can recognize themselves in the mirror and they can feel pain, but it's not like they can coordinate.
No.
And it's just going to keep going. It's going to keep getting worse.
Well, actually, last week I wouldn't have said they can't feel pain because I wouldn't have known. That's not. I wouldn't have assumed that they couldn't feel pain.
Okay.
You could tell me crabs feel pain. I'd go, oh, do they?
Right.
I'm not that educated about all these things.
I think that the fact that we cook lobsters, we boil them alive in water.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole thing before was that because the lobster screams when you throw it in water.
It's like gas.
It's air escaping from the shell. But now that they are amongst crabs, it's they're things that can feel pain.
Yeah.
Even though that's still probably the case, it is the air escaping the shell.
Yeah.
We might be a bit more hesitant to throw them into boiling water.
Well, that's the only implication, really. We can't be as not dismissive, but, flippant.
Yeah.
We can't be as flippant with our relationship with crabs. So...
And that's...
I mean, the only thing...
That's what I've wanted
the only negative outcome of
You've
this...
still got some catching up to do to me, but ultimately this is what I wanted, for us to not be so flippant about our relationship with crabs.
But you do realise this isn't a good thing. Because the only outcome for this, practically, is going to be that there are more crabs. Because we won't be killing as many, maybe.
Yeah.
So this is just bad news for you.
It is bad news for me. Yeah. It's bad news for everyone.
Right.
This is the thing. This is why I brought it up.
That's why you get so frustrated.
Because you're like, oh, it's bad news for you. No, it's bad news for everyone.
I don't care about crabs.
But you should.
Why should I care about crabs?
You should. Because
I live on a hill.
You live... Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you think crabs are not determined enough that they won't just make their way up the hill?
To what? Kill me?
God knows what they have planned for you.
Shut... Because I'm a denier.
Yeah.
Because I'm a crab denier.
Yeah.
Just shut the door.
That'll stop them.
Even a lot of crabs, it's quite small, and I don't think they can push. If they push sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think an army of crabs is going to line up along my door and just like those old medieval films where there's the massive log against.
I was going to say you've seen Storks, right?
Yeah, I've seen Storks.
The wolf pack in Storks, where they
you think crabs are going to do that?
Yeah.
Is that what you're really worried about?
A live transformer.
Did you have a nightmare where the crabs did the wolf thing from Storks?
Well, I'm going to now. That is certain.
Crab submarine. Yeah. Okay, well, sure. What do you want from me? You're nuts.
I'm nuts.
You are. You're nuts.
I'm not. You're
crazy, man.
They have weapons. They strafe.
They don't have weapons.
Now they feel pain.
They don't have weapons.
They do.
They don't have... No, it's not. They're not separate from... It's like if I punch you and you say your fist is a weapon. Yeah, it's a nice metaphor. But it's not, is it? It's my fist.
No, but you haven't. You have evolved an implement, a tool, in that is your hand that can do many things. It can pick things up. It can punch me. It can, I don't know, stroke things. I don't know.
Sure.
What other things do hands do?
Masturbate.
They could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make.
You think a crab can masturbate with its claw?
Knead dough.
It can knead dough. Do you think a crab can knead dough with its claws?
No.
No.
What's your point?
It can only pinch. It's a pincer. It's designed to hurt,
to pinch,
to kill, and to maim. A hand, could do that. It has other utilities.
Is that really what it's for? The pincer is for them to attack things. Really?
Or it's for them to rip their food apart.
Right. There you go. That's what it's for.
Oh yeah, and that's just fine. Is that?
What do you mean?
Look, it's bad news, all right?
Fine.
Crabs are sentient now.
It's bad news for you.
And it's bad news.
It's bad news for you.
It's bad news for everyone.
It's bad news for you because there might be more of them there now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's bad news for everyone.
I'll start worrying when I see the news report about an army of crabs invading the coastal towns.
Okay.
And then they start moving inwards.
Right.
Ironically getting us in a pincer movement.
But wouldn't you like for us to prevent that from happening? Rather than just be like, oh,
getting us in a pincer.
Yeah, rather than just be like, oh, I guess we're too late.
Yeah, this pincer dial.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll start worrying about it when the first harbingers emerge. Man found dead on the beach. Police suspect crabs responsible. A lone crab responsible. I'm not going to worry yet. Is that okay? Can I not worry yet? Can I reserve my fear for the next development?
Can you at least admit we shouldn't have been so flippant about our relationship with crabs?
Were we flippant about our relationship with crabs? This is the question.
Well, we like cooked them. We drove nails into them.
Yeah.
We were just like, oh, look, it's a crab. It's just there.
Right.
Crabbing is an activity where we're like, there you are, crab. Okay, off you go then. Yeah. I mean, what kind of message is that sending to the crab kingdom?
That we own them.
Yeah.
We own their asses.
And they're not going to be happy about that.
No, but I don't think they have the tools or the means to wage a revolution on us.
Yet.
No. Ever.
They went from...
When has that ever happened?
They went from a lack of sentience to gaining sentient status.
They haven't...
It's in... Yeah. It's recognised by science and it's recognised by law.
They haven't evolved sentience, have they? We've just now understood that they have it. This should cheer you up, if anything.
Why?
Because now, if you're using sentience to mean self-aware, they could be coordinating planning. All this time they've been sentient. For millions, billions probably of years, they've been sentient. And they haven't done anything. All the while.
That we know of.
They haven't evolved.
Well, okay, so they've colonized an entire island.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure. What else have they done?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know.
Also, they look kind of creepy.
We don't know. We weren't keeping an eye on them.
Because we don't have to, do we? We don't have to keep an eye on the crabs. This should cheer you up. It should cheer you up.
And yet.
Because what if it turns out, right? All this time, dogs could mutate into larger than human robots and kill their masters if they felt like it.
Right.
It's still a bit like, oh god, they can do that. But they never have. So, good, we can trust dogs.
That we know of.
What? No, that we know of. I think we're pretty certain that no dog has ever transformed into a larger than human robot.
Well, it's never happened and we found out about it.
No, but maybe in North Korea or something. Yeah. The Hermit Kingdom, hermit crabs. It all comes back together.
You telling me that which one's the ill? Which one's the one?
Is it Kim Il-sung? Kim Jong-un, I think is
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
You telling me he's not a crab?
Oh dear.
You telling me
we have gone off the deep end?
You telling me that there's not a reason nobody comes out of North Korea?
It's because he's a crab.
Or he answers to the crabs.
Okay, see, the thing about the orange chocolate, okay?
Okay.
It's like, okay, there is a pattern because, as I would argue, companies jumping on a bandwagon. A few products did well, so they're jumping. Nothing sinister, whatever. That's my take.
Yeah.
You think something's going on, but we can both acknowledge that there's been a spate of new orange chocolate products.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So as conspiracy theories go,
okay,
at least there's the pattern from which to draw a conclusion.
Yes.
A misapprehension in your case, I would say.
Sure.
You're now saying that the leader of North Korea might either be a crab or answer to them. Do you understand why I'm starting to get concerned?
I put it forward for consideration. I didn't say it was happening.
Because I don't know what there was no, like, interim delusion. You went straight from...
We didn't build up to it.
There was a lot of... there's a lot of chocolate orange stuff. That's weird, isn't it? To now, I'm telling you, crabs. The crabs have taken Pyongyang. Again, can I just reserve my fear for further developments?
Do so at your peril. That's my response.
Okay. Well, you keep an eye on them for me, and you let me know. Follow Crustacean Daily, and let me know what's happening.
See, are you not concerned that they've got their own newspaper?
That's weird, isn't it?
Crustacean Daily.
Yeah.
What should be more concerning is that there's only one.
They've monopolized.
No, they've got no desire to create competitors
in the newspaper industry.
In the crab world. It's like this is a united front, gentlemen. We only need one newspaper.
To be fair,
there's no propaganda in these parts. We all know the score.
To be fair, there's probably not much news in the realm of crabs, is there? Like, what is there to report?
It's about people.
About people?
Yeah.
Right.
They're probably panicking right now. It's like, oh shit, they've discovered we can feel pain.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you keep an eye on it. All right? You keep an eye on it.
I will. I will let you know of any further developments.
Feedback.
I will.
Yeah. Stay tuned for Jordan's further episodes of Mania. All right, we done with crabs?
Well.
Are they done with us?
Yeah, that's the question.
Should we do a film review, George?
Okay, all right.
Okay. Oh no, we should promise the audience a review.
Okay.
We were going to review The French Dispatch, weren't we?
Oh yeah, this was going to be a four-pronged podcast. We're going to do 4 film reviews, but The French Dispatch we unfortunately didn't get to. No confidence in Wes Anderson films from cinemas.
No.
There was one cinema. Well, there were 2 cinemas, but in fairness, one of them was one of those like artsy, like...
chapter, wasn't it?
Yeah, all the students go there and they drink craft ale and they talk about how rubbish mainstream cinema is.
Yes.
But yeah, they screened it for like a couple of weeks, and then there was like one like multiplex that did it for like 1 screen, 2 showings a day for like a week or 2.
Well, this kind of highlights in a way the necessity of popcorn blockbuster fare, because you need those films to allow them to screen the other films. Like maybe at the moment, because cinema's still getting back on its feet, it's like we can only show what the shit munchers are going to want to go and see.
Right.
We can't afford to like screen the French Dispatch and, Cineworld. So,
ironically, that's the only one that was showing it.
The Odeon or whatever.
Yeah.
Or View. But maybe in like...
Showcase? Name them all.
Showcase.
Go on. You've already started.
That's the other one. Maybe in a couple of years, it'll be more possible. Because Cineworld in Cardiff always did like... If a film came out, it would go there. Really, no matter how kind of indie or how obscure, it would be there for a bit. Like we went to see Calvary there, like loads of little films like that. So it is strange that it wasn't there more. But anyway, the point being that we will review it. Like there are certain films now that we know we're going to review, either because we're fans of the directors or even if we don't like the film, we're still going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And Wes Anderson is one of those directors, so we're just making the promise now. We will at some point review.
Yes, when we can, we will talk about it.
But now we're going to review Dune.
Dune. Not Doom.
No, not Dune.
No. I feel like at some point I'm going to call it Dune.
Yeah, Dune, it's... Because we're Welsh, it's like an affectation to keep saying Dune.
Yeah.
It's Dune.
Yeah, but no, I do feel like that's going to happen. So that's just me saying up front, like I apologize if that happens.
For calling it Dune.
But Dune, I'm trying.
Okay.
Dune Part 1.
Dune Part 1.
Did we know?
Yeah.
We did know.
We knew beforehand it was going to be at least a two-parter, yeah.
How long before?
Oh, a while.
Okay, because I didn't.
Right.
And I don't know if you brought this up to me. But I started watching it, then the Dune title card came up, and then it went Part 1, and it just faded out to something else. I went, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
You were trying to hide that from me.
Yeah. Yes, it's Part 1 of 2, and maybe 3.
Yeah, well, certainly 2.
Definitely 2. That's been commissioned. It's happening.
Is it halfway through the book? This film ends?
Not a clue.
Okay, I think I heard that.
My knowledge of Dune is it was written by Frank Herbert. It involved spice.
Okay.
It was hard sci-fi. And it's well regarded among science fiction fans. And it's one of the like unfilmable, hard to capture kind of novels.
Yeah.
That's all I knew about it. I don't know any of the story. I don't know.
No, and I've no idea if this is even considered a good adaptation.
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it broadly is considered a good adaptation.
Good because faithful or good because...
Don't know.
Okay.
Just a good film. You know? But I think it's faithful. I mean, it's probably... The detail is probably what's missing, isn't it? There's a lot of detail, but... The book is probably just rife with...
Yeah, you can't... I'm not saying this is the case with the book, but you couldn't have, like, a chapter just describing the process of how they mine the spice, you know?
Yeah.
You could probably explain a bit of it, but ultimately it's like, well, we are telling a story, we kind of need to get going.
You know those sacred trees that are in it? The guy is watering, and he's like, oh, these are the sacred trees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's probably a big thing in the book, right?
Okay.
That's one of those...
Or maybe it's something they're setting up for part 2.
Yeah, sure. But you get the sense that, like, then winking at that because it's in the book a lot, but it's just like a detail. It's not part of the plot, so we can't linger on it. But here you go. Here's the tree.
Right.
That is just a guess. Well, I think the first thing and most important thing to say is that it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny this film, the way that it looks.
Well, it's one of the best looking films I've ever seen.
Okay.
Hands down.
Okay.
It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen on a screen.
Okay.
Do you disagree?
I don't disagree. It's very good. It looks very good.
Yeah.
I think that isn't a thought that I had watching it. I think purely because this is the latest film by Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Who did a bunch of films, but the most recent one he did was Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Another big... that was a sequel, in fairness, but another big, like, blockbuster sci-fi
with a hardcore fan base.
Fan base, sort of conceptual sci-fi. It's not like Star Wars where it's popcorn.
Yeah,
please. It's like actually like no, you have to.
It's thoughtful.
Yeah, you sit down and watch it. You don't just kind of like, oh yeah. It's like no, you watch this.
Yes.
And Blade Runner is a gorgeous film.
It is
one of the most gorgeous films I've ever seen.
I agree.
But the thing with Villeneuve, and I think this is something we both talked about. I don't know whether it's like a typically agreed upon thing amongst people. All of his films were kind of like the next step up, right? Like,
yeah, we've talked about this with other directors too. Like, it seems as though, like, as their tropes develop and as their kind of techniques develop, they seem on an inevitable path to one film or another. And you go, oh, this was clearly, they were always building to this.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like, I have this film I want to make, but it's just, there's kind of like an inevitable conveyor belt aspect to it.
Yeah.
So yes, how would you explain that with Villeneuve?
Well, I jumped on the bandwagon at Prisoners. I know he did films prior to this.
Yeah, but foreign language films.
Yeah.
Canadian, French language films.
Yeah, was it?
Encendies.
That's the one, yeah. But yeah, you got Prisoners, and then you had...
Prisoners, which is like a beautiful film with a script that's like good but not great.
Yeah.
It's a good film.
Yeah.
It's made a lot better by its visual...
Yes.
Yeah, dimensions, yeah.
Then you've got Enemy.
Yeah, that's the Fluke.
Yeah.
Which is like, what's that? A little experimental kind of film.
I mean, my understanding is that it's a very experimental film with a script that's the kind of script you get with an experimental film.
Yeah, the end is the beginning, is the beginning is the end. It's one of those
but
films.
Again, it's got like striking imagery.
It's not nearly as good looking as all of the other films.
No, but it's I think the strikingness of its imagery sort of compensates for that a little bit.
Yeah.
Then you've got Sicario.
Gorgeous film, well written.
Yes.
Step up in scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you got Arrival.
Even again, massive. Well, not a massive sci-fi film again in the Star Wars way, but big ideas are happening.
Yeah.
And like a great script. Like a really brilliant script. Yeah.
And again, a very gorgeous film and a very good example of like CG live action integration.
Yes.
Then you have Blade Runner.
Yeah. Which is... It has a story running through it. Obviously, it's not so much like an improvement in... Arrival is the best script he's directed. It's not an improvement in script, but it's like... It's inheriting much more... It's Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yes.
And then, so necessarily, the step forward was... While there's a story, and that it's essentially a visual experience.
Yes.
An audio-visual experience. It's just this gorgeous imagery with a story thread through it, basically. Yeah.
But to me, that felt like his first lateral move.
Blade Runner.
Dune. From Blade Runner
to Dune.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess the only way it's not a lateral move is that he's directing a series.
Yes, and
it's
I suppose when you get to Blade Runner...
Yeah, where'd you go?
Yeah, the only place you could really go, I suppose, is if you do a denser film. I know Dune is quite dense with like information and detail and character, but like...
Yeah.
I suppose I mean like a more traditional... block, like a I don't know how to describe it. I guess like Planet of the Apes, where it's a blockbuster, but it's kind of a...
Yeah.
Like a quote-unquote better blockbuster. I don't know how you would characterize...
Planet of the Apes.
Like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes. Like, they're blockbusters, they're action films, they're crowd pleasers, but they're not...
Well, they have heart and they have well-written stories.
They're kind of in their own little... They're sort of slightly elevated from their peers.
Yes.
Because of their heart or because of their approach or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dune didn't feel like a step up again to me. It sort of just felt like, oh, we're just kind of like I'm doing Blade Runner again, but just like in a different
I see what you're saying, and it's true that there isn't as much chromatic variety as there is in Blade Runner.
Yeah, well, it's all natural lighting, right? Which is the complete opposite of Blade Runner.
Right, Blade Runner it's neon to desert to grey planet to like snow. It's doing it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, where do you go from there? And I'm kind of glad that he hasn't felt the need to, because you see this go awry sometimes. Nicholas Winding Refn, I would say, is an example of, you've just lost it now.
Yeah.
You've, like, Only God Forgives would be the disappearing up your own derriere.
Yeah.
There are things about that film that are good, but it is just slow-mo, languid, just...
I think you said to me when you first watched it, you said it's either a 1-star film or a 5-star film.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm latterly more in the former camp.
Right.
Latterly more. That's quite a nifty turn of phrase, wasn't it?
God, you're all over the shop here, Sam.
Pincering. Yes, I understand that. So I'm kind of glad he hasn't felt the need to inflate the balloon because it's going to pop. Like Christopher Nolan would be a good example of a director on a trajectory. Like you start with Following, which is just his first low budget India. Memento, okay, American film, couple of high profile actors, great script. Calling card film. Insomnia, studio money, Al Pacino, Robin Williams, basic script, but it's a big film.
Yeah.
Batman Begins, right. Okay. You're on the map.
Strap in.
Yeah, strap in. Like bigger, expensive film.
Yeah.
You know? But again, with ideas. Prestige. A slight step back in scale, but like, they're letting him do what he wants to do now.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight. The masterpiece.
enough said.
Yeah, The Dark Knight. Oh, Christopher Nolan, you just made The Dark Knight. What can we give you $500 million to make that you want? I want to make Inception, even bigger than The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
The Dark Knight Rises. I would say that's maybe bigger than Inception, just about.
In terms of scale,
yeah,
because Inception, despite like the
dreamy element,
it's actually quite an insular film.
Yeah,
ironically, like it feels like it's got this like globe-trotting quality to it. But when you think about like where the characters are, they're only in like a few locations.
Yeah, plain basically. Yeah. Interstellar. I would say Interstellar was Christopher Nolan's Blade Runner.
Okay,
it's like time and space. He was always dealing with those concepts in like an esoteric way. Yeah. Now he's literally like time. You see time in the film represented as that fucking cube. Dunkirk. Okay, right. He stepped back now. Was that the next one? Yeah, Dunkirk was the next one. Again, I'm glad. And then Tenet felt like, let's try and do an Inception-y kind of thing again. Am I missing any? Have I missed one there?
No. I don't think so.
No, that's all of them. And now he's doing the Oppenheimer film, which again is like, okay.
Yeah.
Something different, because you have to. Where do you go when you've done Interstellar? Whether you like that film or not, how do you go bigger?
No, you do peak with Interstellar.
Yeah,
I suppose like a more emotional. Maybe that's why I decided to do Dunkirk, like a World War II film. It's sort of like because it's an historical event that like everyone knows about, and it's affected everybody in some way. There's like an emotional.
Well, I don't know, because the thing that people liked about Interstellar was that it had an emotional heart to it. It had a core, because he was often accused of being a very technical, cold, dispassionate filmmaker.
My memory of Interstellar was that the problem a lot of people had with it was that clashed with Nolan's filmmaking. It felt weirdly like the emotionally charged ending felt like it was it didn't quite slot into the story he was doing before.
I don't think he's the greatest writing emotion or writing relationships and stuff like that. He's a perfectly good writer, but he's great at ideas.
Yeah.
And if you hear him talk, go, I get your vibe.
Yeah.
You're interested in concepts. But yeah, Interstellar at the time was praised for being he's kind of doing the Christopher Nolan scale, but he's like the father and daughter relationship is at the heart of the film.
Right.
And then Dunkirk is despite its subject matter, it's not Saving Private Ryan. It's incredibly dispassionate.
No, it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a Nolan World War II film. So
even that's dealing with time, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a Nautilus shell, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got three characters, three different stories, but they're taking place across different timescales.
Yeah.
So one story takes place across an hour, one takes place across a day, the other takes place across a week. And occasionally you'll see them.
And they kind of end at the same point.
They end at the same point, but you'll occasionally see, like, Tom Hardy will fly a plane, and then in the other story you'll see him fly over at some point. And a bit of that. Yeah, no, I just meant that, like, the subject matter was more emotional.
Okay.
Than just the idea of traveling the universe.
Yeah.
But when you get to Tenet, it's like, right, okay, somebody needs to, like, sit Nolan down and be like, okay, you've done it now.
Yeah,
you've done the Nolanist thing you could do. Yeah, let's do other stuff, please.
Yeah, going across the globe and filming it's over.
Yeah.
Not over, but like, you don't have to keep topping it.
No.
Because he was the one that said, after when he agreed to kind of do The Dark Knight Rises, he said, we are ending the story because you can't keep infinitely inflating the balloon. That was the expression he used.
Yeah.
And he was right. But take your own advice as far as your films go.
Yeah.
But I understand the thing, of course. Like, if I made a film or you made a film, you get more money to make a second one. It's like, I can't step back in terms of scale. I have to keep pushing forward and forward and forward. But I don't think it's a good instinct.
No, because it doesn't necessarily... Pushing forward in terms of scale doesn't necessarily equate...
No.
Like evolution or growth.
Look at Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
Like he's probably made his biggest films. But his first films were his biggest films.
What's the new one? Is it Licorice Pizza?
Licorice Pizza.
That looks like a tiny indie.
Yeah. And that's after Phantom Thread and Inherent Vice.
Yeah.
The thing I love about Paul Thomas Anderson, just brief diversion, is
we haven't talked about Dune at all in this Dune review.
We're going to get to it. He is absolutely not on that trajectory.
Right.
There's no way, like, you make Boogie Nights, we made Hard 8, that was his, like, first one. Then you make Boogie Nights, then you make Magnolia, which is, okay, it's got the ensemble thing of Boogie Nights, but it's, like, longer.
Yeah.
And it's more characters and all this stuff. And then you make Punch Drunk Love. An hour and a half, stripped down, and then he made There Will Be Blood. There's no rhyme or reason. I love that. He just does what he wants to do.
Just bobbing and weaving. It's like, what am I going to do
next?
He's
like a crab.
Yeah.
Dune, then.
Okay.
Yes. visually very good looking, but you think a lateral move after Blade Runner.
From Blade Runner. I don't want it to sound like I'm trying to be a detractor on the visuals front, because like Dune is undeniable in that department.
Yeah.
I think Blade Runner, because of its chromatic
variety,
abundance,
yeah,
it's more visually striking than like a desert. Like if you were to look at the two, this is not like a criticism of Dune at all, but if you were to put like images of the two side by side, you're gonna look at Blade Runner first. And one of the things we always say, isn't it, about like cinematography, the sign of a talented cinematographer to make inherently
boring
or uninteresting or barren or just like unworkable locations to make them look great.
Yeah.
And this film is basically just set in a desert and in like concrete rooms.
Yeah.
And a desert can be striking, but over the course of 3 hours.
No, I know that, but at the end of the day, like, what?
But that's like a point in its favor.
Oh, I see.
That it does does still manage to look like, oh, this is like a pretty film.
Yeah. I think it's 2 hours 40-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not quite 3.
Yeah,
it's close.
2:20 to 40.
Yeah.
For me, the last 20 minutes, half an hour could have gone, or like been postponed. I say they could have gone, not in terms of the content. It was around the 2 hour 10 mark that I started to go, I think I'm done with Dune now.
Okay, is that around the time of the helicopter crash?
Well, that's when it should have ended.
Okay, because I should have kept a note of it actually, but I saw that somewhere. I saw somebody talk about, I think somebody who was familiar with the source material, and they said that the film should have ended there. But if it ended there, it would have to have been 3 parts. Because it sort of results in this slightly meandery kind of...
It should have ended with the helicopter crash, and then they encounter the Fremen. It's like, ooh, who are these people?
Right.
End of film.
Okay.
Right? Not the whole battle, and like, you start the second film with that. He's proving himself.
Yeah.
I understand why they did do that, because it's like, it affirms that he's the chosen one at the end of the film.
Yeah.
And then they'll walk off on their exodus into the desert together. But I think it would have been just a bit more elegant, because it feels like an epilogue. It feels a little bit like a stick-on.
Yeah, which it shouldn't if it's him proving his worth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they crash, and then... I mean, maybe he ended it like that, but it's not like it's much more resolved. Well, I mean, in case I don't get a part 2.
Yeah.
It's an ending. Then walking off into the desert.
Yeah, there was like a week, wasn't there, after the film came out, where it's like, well, part 2 hasn't even been commissioned. Who knows if we'll even get to a part 2? It's like, you're going to get a part 2.
Yeah.
Why did they wait?
I don't know.
It's weird, because usually it's the other way around, right? They go, this is a trilogy, and then the first one bombs, and then they quietly cancel the whole franchise.
Maybe because it's... Yeah, that's true. Maybe because it's just so... It's a kind of a known property, but it's not a guaranteed financial... it's not like, oh my god, a Dune film.
Yeah.
So they just waited to see like what the reception was and what the... I don't know. But anyway, the visual effects... Okay. Also very good.
Yes.
Very, very good.
Big worm.
Just like the ships and they just look like they're there.
They do, yeah.
They really do.
From Arrival in terms of like CG integration.
Yeah.
To this, it's like, right, okay, he clearly knows what he's doing.
I just love the designs of everything as well.
I do. There was a bit, and I suppose this is sort of leading into our opinions a bit.
Right.
I was like looking at like the Dragonfly helicopters. And I was thinking, like, what's wrong with a normal helicopter?
Right. Well, it's not Earth.
I know it's not Earth, but it's like a universal... the science of a helicopter would work in
of course. I don't have a problem with that, just because they let's say the planet where Dune is set existed.
Yeah.
They wouldn't build a helicopter. They might build something that looks like one or does the same thing. I don't know. I don't know whether, like, inevitably, whatever culture or civilization builds a helicopter builds it exactly the same way.
No.
It's a Raptor, it's called, isn't it?
A Raptor. I found myself thinking that. I was like, I don't know if it's like... I can't imagine those flapping rotors is, like, safer or more efficient fuel-wise.
I think they looked at an existing helicopter and went, no, we reject that.
Yeah.
It's just what they've invented.
But I think, like... I sort of realised that I was like looking at stuff like that. I was thinking stuff like that. I was like, oh, is this... This might not be working for me. Just because I'm thinking of... Like I was intimidated from the start, right, with that like exposition. It opens on Zendaya, and it's just like random imagery. She's like, we're the Fremen, and we fight the octopus on the doobly-doo, and
it's not that bad though. That's the thing. You're caricaturizing it.
I am caricaturizing it, but that's how it felt to me. I was like, I don't know if I can.
Well, I knew going in that it was dense. Like Dune is a dense.
Yeah.
The source material is dense, so I was kind of a little bit prepared for. Right, okay, you're going to be inundated with information, and then if you go in thinking that, you'll be fine because it's really not that much. There's a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like there's this place called Arrakis. You've got the Atreides clan, and they're taking it over from an old clan. That's basically all you need to know. And the Fremen are like the Taliban of that. Well, they're like the cave desert people, aren't they?
Yeah. Ooh, steady.
No, that's what it is. Taliban are desert people. I don't mean it in like dirty sand people. I just mean the people of the desert. So yeah, it's like not nearly as dense as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
At all. Like, it's more along the lines of Blade Runner, which is it's a visual experience. So I didn't have that problem with it.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, I liked it more than you did. Definitely.
Well, I mean, that's apparent.
That's apparent. I don't know, yeah. Well, what was it then about it that just didn't get you? Because I don't love it.
No.
But I probably like it the same as, if not a little bit more than Blade Runner.
Okay. I don't know. I really don't know what it was that wasn't clicking for me. Like those two examples I gave just now, like the front load of information, even though, like by your own admission, it's not as offensive as it could be.
No, it's not Lord of the Rings.
It's not Well, I'll take your word for it on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other thing as well. Like, sci-fi is not the genre that I'm like genre racist about. Because a fantasy film fantasy stuff like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, I just don't have the patience for it.
Right.
I haven't. That's the main reason I haven't watched either. Like it's fortuitous in a sense that Game of Thrones ended up ending in a shit way.
Yes.
Because now I have a reason not to watch it.
Yeah. But you're just not predisposed to fantasy. Nor am I.
No.
Nor am I.
But that's not the case with sci-fi. It's not as if like, I don't like sci-fi.
You're down for sci-fi.
Yeah. But I really don't know. The fact that there was that info dump at the beginning and that I was like, though recognizing like the quality of the artistry, the fact that I was looking at the Dragonfly helicopters and going, is that just a case of like, we have to make it look alien as opposed to let's just use the thing that works?
But you wouldn't though. I feel like if I was designing a completely different planet, I wouldn't just give them a helicopter. It would just be kind of incongruous. They've got a helicopter. I know. Like obviously buildings. Well, the buildings don't look the same, obviously.
No.
But there are fundamental shared, generalizations.
Well, they got a big thing. They got a big thing that's on like caterpillar treads, and you're just like, yeah, that's a thing.
But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay. Like some of their clothes, I guess, could look similar to ours or whatever. You have to ground it in some thing. But I feel it would be weird if, like, they're just flying a helicopter on this.
I know what you mean.
Completely alien planet.
not this. Yeah, I don't want this to seem like, I didn't like Dune because it didn't have proper helicopters.
No, it was the fact that it caught your attention, but that implies something else wasn't working for you.
It does imply something else. Yeah, that's not the symptom.
No, that is the symptom.
Maybe no,
it
is
the
disease.
Yeah,
it's the symptom. It's not the disease. I realized that it wasn't holding my attention.
Yeah.
When I was like, "That's not a helicopter."
Yeah, when you start really thinking about plot holes and stuff like that, or just noticing things like that, something's not working.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really wish I could figure it out.
Is it just because it's long and kind of, again, it langers? It's just kind of, it's not a kind of film.
Maybe
it's like There Will Be Blood of sci-fi.
Is this type of story old hat? This whole chosen one prophecy.
Well, I mean,
like Timothy Chalamet is just like, he's the most important person in the universe. He's great at everything. He just needs to figure it out.
I mean, the one thing is universal across sci-fi and fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that because every fucking thing is about, even the Lego movie, it's about.
Yeah, but that was like,
I know it's kind of a piss take.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that's a trope.
It is a trope.
There are troubled times. And one will rise, the prophesied one will rise. And
a review is probably not the right forum to be doing this, but this is me just like...
Yeah.
I'm just brainstorming with you now.
Okay.
It's like, why did I not like Dune?
Yeah, let's try and figure it out.
I would like to figure it out.
I don't know, my gut instinct would just be that it was like long and kind of... Not much happens.
Well, what did you like about it? Let's start with that and I see if I agree with you.
Well, the visuals, obviously, as we've talked about.
No qualms about that, no.
Love the visuals. It never, even though it's consistent in its it's deserty. It never gets boring.
No.
I remember you saying to me your first thought was, well, every shot looks expensive.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I mean, it obviously is. I didn't have that thought because that's like a cynical... You could watch like a Marvel film and go, oh, that was expensive. They show off how much money they've spent on it.
I think that, that's in my notes, is that every shot in Blade Runner is gorgeous, every shot in this is expensive. Yeah. But I think that was written right after I watched it.
Okay.
So I don't know whether that implies that I've softened to it a bit.
Yeah, I think so, because like... Yeah, I wasn't watching it thinking, oh god, they poured money into it. I was thinking, god, that's fucking beautiful. They're obviously not mutually... contradictory, like they go together, expensive and good looking. But I think whatever you think, whatever becomes the dominant thought in your mind shows how you're viewing the film. You obviously weren't feeling it, and so your brain went, ooh, it's expensive. I was thinking that's just good looking. I did think that though. I did think that it was good looking. There was I know, of course you did, but you also thought expensive. Yeah.
But like when the big worm showed up, I wasn't like, that's an expensive worm.
No.
I was like, ooh, big worm.
Big worm.
Yeah.
What do I like about it? Well, let me just go through my notes and we can figure out what I liked about it as well. Well, I can sometimes find Timothée Chalamet annoying.
Okay.
But not in this film.
Okay, why?
I just thought he was fine. I just thought like he embodied that role perfectly well.
But what did he do?
Well, not much. But that's the point. That's kind of the point. He can be a bit gurning, can Timothée Chalamet, or Timothée, however you're supposed to say it.
Is that part of it? Is it the... What fucking name? The Americans. The woman.
Carrie Russell.
Is it the Carrie Russell thing where you look at Elizabeth in The Americans and you think, oh, she's just playing like a very stoic character. But then you see Carrie Russell and she is a very not stoic person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the... Like, even though it's like a peeled back performance, it becomes impressive because it's a contradiction of the person.
Maybe. Like, I don't really know what he's like. I suspect he's insufferable. Okay. But I don't, but because he's a young actor and he's like, he wears these clothes and stuff. And, you know.
No, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. Yeah. I saw Ezra Miller has a band and they're playing in Cardiff. Okay. It's the most pretentious poster I've ever seen. It's like him, he's shirtless. Yeah. Kind of like looking... really thin, obviously, and just kind of looking like over his shoulder like that. And then there's an androgynous other member of the band behind him, a woman with like really short ginger hair, with like no boobs, and a jacket, suit jacket, open with nothing underneath it, so you can see like the outline, the outer outline of the boob. Okay. And they're just kind of looking kind of all sultry, and it's fuck off. It's that Christ thing. I'm thin and I'm shirtless. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That messianic thing. Anyway,
what happened to the Happy Mondays? Bands like that.
I don't know. Were they fucking ugly fuckers?
Ugly fuckers who have a bez.
Soon I'm 30. I only went with your mother because she's dirty. Where'd that go? Yes. Anyway, I suspect he's insufferable. Like, after the stuff about Woody Allen came out, he donated all of his money to... And he said, I didn't know when I worked with him. He's one of those. So I suspect he's insufferable. And he's in Wes Anderson films now. He's a Wes Anderson actor. Let's put it that way. I like Wes Anderson films.
That's the thing, we like Wes Anderson
films. But you know what I mean? With that it's a certain type. It's like New York, even though it's Canadian. It's that New York indie actor thing. Okay. Tilda Swinton kind of has it.
See, I would have thought it would be a Californian problem.
What, with Timothée Chalamet?
Well, like when you're saying like, it's that kind of actory, like...
Yeah.
I thought that would be a California problem.
No, it's not the California, it's the New York problem.
Right.
It's more the New York. It sounds like I'm saying the Jewish problem. I don't mean that. Actually, no, both California and New York.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Timothée Chalamet, I suspect it's insufferable. Yes. In this, he just kind of buttons it down and he's, Call Me By Your Name, he was a bit younger. It's a good performance, but I don't love Timothée Chalamet. And in this, I thought he was... And he's dropped the tick. Something that he does in everything I've seen him in. He kind of like... He has his mouth open... And his tongue is kind of moving around a little bit in his mouth,
like his tongue is trying to find the thought as well as his brain.
Yeah, or just like like Walter White or Bryan Cranston has his mouth open.
Yeah,
it's a bit like that.
Okay,
and he doesn't do it in Dune. It was like, no, you strip all that back. It's like Anyway, the point is, I just didn't find him horrible in it. Okay, I thought everyone slipped into their role quite snugly. Really, everyone just did the job well. Yeah, they delivered their dialogue completely straight, which is important for Dune. Informationally dense, obviously, but not as dense as I suspected. So as with a lot of fantasy and sci-fi, a lot of that's detail. It's just stuff. It's not overwhelming. And I think you do settle into the references. As long as you know what Arrakis is, and you know the Atreides clan, and I've forgotten what they're actually called now, but the Stellan Skarsgård's people.
Oh, the Baron, his people.
The Baron's people, yeah. I watched it with subtitles.
Okay.
And I would recommend watching it with subtitles.
Okay.
Because that way you can see how Arrakis is spelt, and you go, right, that's what Arrakis sounds like, that's how it's spelt.
Right.
So I now know what that means when it pops up on the screen.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I was never lost, which I feared.
Okay.
But I was never lost at all. And you got that scene where the carryall is swallowed in the sand, and they're watching it from the thopter is what it's called.
Oh, a thopter.
Not a thopter. I'm not the first person to make this point, but it occurred to me, so I'm going to make it. It reminded me of Rutger Hauer's monologue from Blade Runner. You know, at the end where he's dying, and he says, I have seen star systems on the blah, 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 and I've seen things explode in the blah, blah galaxy. Like he's seen the scope of existence. As they're in the thopter watching the carryall being sucked into the sand, I was thinking, yeah, that's one of those things that Rutger Hauer has seen.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like the full range of all these like majestic, destructive things. Anyway, I knew it was hard sci-fi and cold sci-fi, so I expected to admire the film.
Right.
Not to enjoy it. But I did enjoy it. I did find it exciting.
Oh, okay.
I thought, oh yeah, I'm kind of the Baron, I want him dead, you know?
Okay.
Like, I did genuinely get into it. And I thought it did feel like another galaxy. Whereas Star Wars, it's like, oh, that's Morocco. That's Ireland. Dune does feel like a whole different place.
Okay.
I don't know if you felt that way.
Yeah, no, I do feel that.
Yeah.
I think when they first go to Arrakis and they're on the airfield and just like you've got all of those ships.
Yeah.
And just the environment. And yeah, it does feel like it's like when you get off the plane on holiday, it's like we're in a different place now.
Yes.
You know?
Definitely. I will admit that maybe I have a slight bias for Denis Villeneuve. I just really like his films. I like the design and the pacing and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And a good sign for me, maybe in the inverse way that you were thinking, why isn't it a helicopter? I tend not to like characters that I'm supposed to find cool.
Right.
Like, oh, he's the breakout one that everyone loves. But I did find Jason Momoa cool in it. I gotta say.
Jason Momoa as well.
Yeah, Duncan Idaho. That's the character's name. Yeah, I thought he was like, oh yeah.
He's I'll show him some respect. Call him Duncan Idaho.
No, I just find it funny that even in that like incredibly hard sci-fi universe, he's called Duncan Idaho.
They've all got pretty normal names, haven't they?
I know.
Is that deliberate? Is that like a thing? Was that a thing in the book, or is that something they've done now?
Well, they do and they don't, because it's like Paul Atreides.
Yeah.
You know? What's his dad called? I can't remember.
Malcolm or something.
Malcolm Atreides, yeah. Keith
Atreides.
Yes. But I did find quite a cool character.
Okay.
I wish Dave Bautista was in it more. Not because he's good, just because I get the sense that there's like good stuff coming with him.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like he was there because he needed to be there
for the next one.
Like with what's her face from Star Wars, like in the sequel trilogy, the Silver Stormtrooper.
Oh yeah, Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah. Like you got the impression, like when you see The Force Awakens, you get the impression it's like, right, she's going to become important later. We're just seeing her now,
and then she didn't really.
And then she didn't.
Yeah, but that was their failure.
Failure.
Was like, here's a thing.
Yeah, and Ryan Johnson was like, oh, cool. Anyway.
Yeah. Right.
But no, like with Dave Bautista, like if he's barely in the second one as well, then it's really a case of like you didn't need this guy.
Yeah.
So I do hope that he does get more to do.
Like David Dastmalchian was more needed in this first one. And obviously he's killed off. So it's like, oh, Dave Bautista now, he'll get his chance to shine in the second one.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much range, does he, old Dave? But he's fine. I liked him he did something different in Blade Runner for Denis Villeneuve, and I liked him in that. And he's kind of not stretching as much in this one.
Well, he's certainly found his niche, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, because you say that he hasn't got much range. Like, Drax is not whoever he plays in this.
No, that's fair.
Like, he can do Drax, and he can do this kind of character. Sort of similar to the one in Blade Runner as well.
And Spectre.
Where he was just kind of like... Like in Blade Runner...
Well, in Blade Runner, no, he's like a bloke with glasses.
Yeah, I was going to say he was like...
more frail.
Yeah, not... Because, beats the shit out of Ryan Gosling. But
he seems timid and mild-mannered.
Yeah.
And, I like him most in Blade Runner because he's doing something different.
Yes.
But, I loved Stellan Skarsgård's look the Baron.
Oh yeah, it's like an instantly like, right, that's a bad guy.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad guy, yeah.
Yeah. I was a bit confused. Is he levitating or is he just really tall?
I think he's levitating.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's up on the ceiling, isn't he?
Yeah.
After Oscar Isaac sprays poison at him.
Yeah.
He like flies up at the ceiling.
Right,
he's like cuddling on the ceiling.
Because that was like the first time where he like gets up off the thing and he's obviously huge. And it's like, ooh, okay. But I was a bit like, he just got really long legs, or is he? Because he's under like a cloak, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if he was levitating. Or he just had really long legs.
I think it just comes down to ultimately like the fact that the film is, it's kind of archetypal. It's like a Sith Lord essentially, and the good guy is the chosen one. It's a simple story, which I like. I like a simple story in like a really visually beautiful frame.
Okay,
and I did find it exciting, like, you know, when they're attacked and Josh Brolin and that are attacking, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm invested to see what happens.
Okay.
And, you know, at the end of the day, Denis Villeneuve is the finest visual filmmaker working today, if not definitely one of them. My money I put on him.
When you say visual filmmaker, what exactly are you...
His films are the best looking.
Yeah?
I mean, I know like cinematographer is like Roger Deakins, we would say, but like...
No, I'm just thinking about, because like, to bring up Wes Anderson again, he's got such a unique, striking visual style, but it's something that no other director does or attempts.
No. It's distinctive, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's idiosyncratic. It's more idiosyncratic than Denis.
And it's a style that kind of like works because of its simplicity. We've talked before about how artificial... the sets and
self-consciously artifice. You can feel the artifice of it.
Yeah, like the Grand Budapest Hotel, the exterior shot of that, it's cake.
Yeah,
but like the exterior shot of the hotel, it's just like a piece of cardboard, right?
Yeah, basically.
It's just the hotel on a piece of cardboard.
It's all 2D.
Yeah. So he just so happens to have a style that works really well, and like it can be done simply.
Yeah.
Whereas there was probably no simple way of bringing the sandworm to life.
No, probably not.
Which were, like, thankfully, like, genuinely intimidating.
Oh, it was, yeah. I was terrified.
Genuinely, because, like, on YouTube, we do, we mark the chapters with, like, pictures. Like, this will probably be, like, this section will probably be marked with, like, a picture of the sandworm or something. And I was, like, Googling it to get the picture. And there was, like, it's weird, like, when it was, like, cut off at the top of the frame, it was fine. But, like, there's one picture where you see the entirety of the sandworm. So its whole, like, eye, mouth, whatever it is. And I did just go, ooh. Like, there's something about seeing it in its entirety.
It's because it looks... I think it's an aperture. It's like a massive... I could be wrong, but like a massive aperture with, like, tendrils along the circumference of it.
Yeah, it looked... There's some creature that it's sort of based on.
But it looks like when it rises up at the end and you see it, he's looking at it.
Yeah.
It looks like a big eye.
It does, yeah.
And it's like, ooh, yeah, that's...
Even though it's probably like a mouth, right?
Yeah, it's like an opening.
It doesn't have eyes, and yet there's this big, like, eye-looking thing staring at you.
Yeah. That's another thing about zigzagging, isn't it? They have to zigzag to get away from the the worm.
Yeah.
How did that become a recurring theme?
Their funky little dance.
Yeah. Zigzagging.
So last episode it was time.
And this one is just zigzagging. Slaloming.
Okay. So at this point, the cable for Sam's microphone became loose enough that the microphone just stopped recording, but not loose enough that it fell out onto the table where we would have heard it and seen it and been able to do something about it. We did catch it eventually, but not immediately, so for the next 15-20 minutes or so, you're going to be hearing my direct audio feed and just whatever bleed is coming over from Sam. It's fine, you can hear him, it is a disruption to the quality of the audio, I can only apologise for that, it's frustrating that this stuff keeps happening, but yeah, so apologies for that. Back to the podcast.
Denis Villeneuve, one of the finest visual filmmakers, if not the finest visual filmmaker, and one of the finest filmmakers, period. The film occupies a similar place to 2049, where I really like it, but I can't imagine watching it a lot.
No, I don't know what... I will watch the sequel.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, independent of the podcast, I was gonna... I would watch the sequel anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe that... If it's good, hopefully it is good, but that will sort of like improve my opinion of the first a bit, because I haven't disagreed with anything you've told me.
No, it's...
But we're still clearly in two different places.
It was the X factor just wasn't there for you, basically. Like, whatever, the thing you can't put your finger on. Yeah, I objectively agree with you, but I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
You just weren't feeling it.
I wasn't feeling
That's fair enough.
So yeah, maybe the sequel will improve it a bit.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about Dune?
I don't believe that I do.
Okay.
other than Zendaya is a hypocrite.
Go on.
Isn't there like a moment? It's the only piece of dialogue I've actually written down in my notes, but I think it's something like when they finally meet over 2 hours into a 2.5 hour film.
Yeah.
She's like, they say you're the chosen one, but you just look like a boy. Like it's a bit hypocritical coming from Zendaya, right? She looks just like a child herself.
Oh, true. Yes, very true.
It might mean something coming from Anton Chigurh. I forgot his real name. Javier Bardem. Might mean something coming from Javier Bardem, not from fucking Zendaya. You're just a child.
You're younger than me, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like Zendaya though.
No, she's certainly being poised as like the next big
thing.
Yeah, and I don't see it.
I'm suspicious of her.
Okay.
I just saying that I just feel that she's also probably insufferable.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? She's one of these new celebrities.
But she came from Disney TV, didn't she?
Is that what she came from?
Like, it wasn't from Victorious, but it was like one of those types of shows. Victorious, Icari. I think she came from there.
I remember hearing her name start to be said, and people knew who she was, and I was like, who the fuck is Zendaya?
Yeah.
I assumed it was like a musician.
Yeah.
Because Zendaya.
Yeah, one word name, yeah.
So like, Disney, to Spider-Man? Was that the leap?
I think so, yeah.
And then Euphoria, which is her HBO show.
Yeah, and now Dune.
Which she won an Emmy for, yeah. And now Dune, yeah.
And then I think she's got other stuff lined up as well.
Okay. Is that it for Dune then?
I think so. It's obviously a recommendation from you.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess it's one from me
recommendation if you're up for it. Like, this is not a blanket recommendation.
No.
You need to be a patient cinema goer.
Yes, you do.
You need to enjoy film. It's one of those. If you're in the mood for a sci-fi film, watch Star Wars. Like, don't watch.
Yeah.
It's not for the casual viewer.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just because it's long.
Do I recommend it? I suppose, like, what I'll say is, like, if you do end up watching it, I hope you like it more than I did.
Sure.
Because I do feel slightly disappointed.
That you didn't like it more.
In myself, I suppose. Yeah, that I didn't like...
You didn't bring more of yourself to it.
No, I feel like I brought myself to it. I was definitely there when it happened. But yeah, I came away from it and just sort of like, yeah, it didn't quite get there for me.
Okay.
And I'm sad.
Well, hopefully, I mean, I don't agree with the film has to work on its own. But hopefully the sequels will not recontextualize it, but like, oh, I can get through that more easily now because I really want to get to the second one and it's all one big story.
Maybe.
But no, a film still does have to work on its own.
Yeah.
It just happened to for me, except the ending, which it should have been like half hour, 20 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's Dune.
That's Dune.
Right. Sam's Lexicorner. Let's do a Sam's Lexicorner. you shuddered.
The excitement I feel.
We have a couple.
No.
Oh, we're not doing that.
No, we got to do the theme song.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Samuel. Words. Phrases. Sam's Lexicorner.
Should I start all that again?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
But like, you can't. We got to do the theme song.
I know.
It's been sitting on my hard drive. I've been waiting to use it.
Okay. Has it happened yet?
It's happened.
It's happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have two.
Two
today.
Two now?
Two right now.
Right now.
There's going to be a third. I forgot it.
Oh.
I don't know what it is now. So yeah, for now it's two. The first.
As in, you're giving them both to us right now.
I'm giving them both to you right now. Not simultaneously because my mouth can't do that.
Okay.
But one after the other.
Would you want me to layer them?
They'll be consecutive.
after the fact.
And understanding neither. Yeah. Okay. We'll start with Add-aptation.
Okay.
Now, as a listener, you're probably thinking that's a word. Already.
God, they're getting lazy.
Just a word. There might be a more elegant term for this, but just as like an instinctive thing written down, it's like, what else could it be?
Okay.
Add-aptation. No, aptation. Add-aptation.
Right.
And this was devised as we were watching The Leftovers, I think.
I believe it was.
Yeah. And we were talking about shows or films that had adapted a novel, usually, but then continued after the end of the novel.
Yeah.
So they exhausted all the material, and but we still have to do a show.
Yeah.
And we came up with a few examples of that. So The Leftovers being one.
Yeah, The Leftovers, the book, the finale of season 1 is the end of the book, right?
The final line of the first season is the final line of the book.
And then there are 2 more seasons.
Yeah. That take the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
Big Little Lies is another example.
Okay.
The first season was the novel adaptation, and then they did a sequel series, and there's one more.
Dexter?
Was Dexter the other one?
I feel like it was.
Because they adapted the first book, didn't they? But I feel like maybe more books. There were more books in the series, but they just kind of ignored it after that.
There were more books in the series, but yeah, I think they did their own thing. I don't know if Game of Thrones would fall into that, because they were following the books and then they kind of pulled ahead.
Yeah. Presumably he was like telling them what was going to happen to some extent. Anyway.
You've also got, this is sort of something we've referred to on the show before, maybe, if it fits the criteria, but the Bad Genius TV show.
Yeah.
The final heist in the film, it's like the 7th episode of the series, and it's a 10-episode series.
Yeah.
The final heist in the show, nothing to do with the original story.
Sure.
So yeah, that kind of like took the source material, and then when it was done adapting it, it just sort of went off and did its own thing.
In a sense, you could say, and this is very unique, I can't think of another example of this. Watchmen could be an adaptation, the limited series.
Okay.
In that it didn't even adapt the graphic novel, it considered that canon, and we're just going to do a sequel to that. I can't think of anything else like that.
Is that just a sequel, but because it's in a different form of the media format's different from the original, it feels like it should be considered its own.
I mean,
thing.
It is its own thing, but it's also, if adaptation is you're adapting something and then adding on to it. Watchmen is like didn't even bother with the adaptation. It's like, well, no. We're not even going to do that. The thing that exists is canon.
Right.
That story's canon.
Okay.
So here is more of that story.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of it really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Adaptation.
And
then we'll have another one.
Oh god, do we put the theme in again, or do we...
Let's just carry on.
Okay.
God, let's not torture them.
Right.
Okay, so I'll start with an example. The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1950 sci-fi film. A big robot lands in the middle of like New York.
Love a big robot?
Love a big robot. What?
I'm just saying, love a big robot.
You love a big robot?
Yeah.
That you just saying that?
Yeah.
Do you love a big robot?
Yeah.
Why do you love a big robot?
Do you not love a big robot?
Ambivalent.
Do you not see a big robot and you're like, oh yeah?
Are you genuinely just sincerely saying that you like big robots?
Yeah.
Okay. So a robot...
That's like, people like big robots, right?
Well, you like Transformers, don't you?
No, but like big robots in general is just like that's a good thing.
I guess.
It's nice that we have those. We don't actually have those, but it's nice that like...
They exist in the realm of fiction.
Yeah.
Sure. So a big robot
Would they be a fictal, big robots?
At the moment,
Transformers, I guess, would be, but just like a big robot.
I suppose so, yeah.
Okay.
Like a mechanical kaiju.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like an Iron Giant kind of thing. Sure.
Okay.
So, a mechanical kaiju lands in New York, and it's called Gort.
Gort.
That's its alien name. It's Gort. Like Walk and Mindy, it's Gort. And then in the 2008, I think it was, version of the film with Keanu Reeves, Gort now stands for like geothermal optic. Like it's become an acronym.
Okay.
And you know, so it's basically taking something that now might be a bit goofy, because we're in the postmodern era, and you know,
you can't have any fun anymore.
No, it's all a bit like
the only fun you can have is poking fun at things.
Right, and like it's the Nolanization as well. Like we have to ground everything in a realistic context. You know, like the Batmobile, it's a tank.
Yeah.
You know, do they even call it the Batmobile in the franchise?
I don't think they do.
No, it's the Tumbler or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's a bit goofy, the Batmobile. You know? and it's with they didn't actually go through with it, did they? But Doom in Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Victor Von Doom is the villain. Goofy, comic book Goofy. And then they had the Josh Trank Fantastic Four, which was supposed to be it's the grounded version of Fantastic Four. And so Doom was just going to be his hacker name. It's going to be Victor something.
Yes, and I think that was what happened in the original shoots, but then in the reshoots...
it just became his name.
It just became, Victor Von Doom.
And you brought up a couple as well.
Did I?
Examples of this. Bumblebee, I think.
Oh, yeah. I suppose this is a question for you. So, in the Bumblebee solo movie, he's referred to as B-127.
Yes.
You see, like, the film opens with, like, a flashback to the war on Cybertron, where you have the exodus of the Autobots. And everybody's got their original... Like, they're not referred to by name, but I think they might be in the credits. You've still got Starscream, you've still got Megatron, you've still got Optimus Prime, you've still got, like, all this mad shit.
Yeah.
But he's B-127?
Yes.
And then later on in the film, when he sort of teams up when he's adopted by Haley Steinfeld, she gives him the nickname Bumblebee.
Well, that's the thing. When they come to Earth, they already have those names, right? In the canon, the actual,
Yeah.
Silly. Obviously, dumb, because are the bumblebees on Cybertron?
Yeah.
And things like, it does make, it is goofy. So yeah, it kind of does count. The only reason that it's kind of blown out of the water is because, well, how do you explain Starscream then? Optimus Prime I can live with.
Yeah.
That's kind of
a Megatron, like, sure.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But like Banshee, is that one?
I think Banshee's one. I'm sure if you go through, there's like, well, you've got like the Dinobots, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like they turn into robot dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like, how do you explain that, matey?
So that's kind of an example.
And the Insecticons, that's another one.
Insecticons.
Yeah.
Crustaceans.
Oh, no.
They're big fucking crabs.
No.
Kaiju crabs.
No, my question was going to be, so would you say B-127 falls into the trope? Or is there another trope going on here? There is another trope going on here, but I don't know if it's been identified or not. You've got this recent thing, because like nobody has any original ideas anymore, so everything's getting remade.
Yes.
But it's reached the point now where we can't even remake something. We have to like do prequels to it.
Yeah.
So you've got like, Cruella and Solo and like all of these like prequel origin stories for the villains or for whoever. Mm-hmm. And what they tend to do is they give a backstory to just like details of the character.
Right.
The famous one from Solo, well, there's a couple in Solo actually. It's known for it. But one of them is that he goes up to like a empire. He enlists in the empire and they say, "What's your last name?" And he goes, "I don't have a last name." And he's like, "Well, what family are you from?" He's like, "I don't have a family." And he just goes, "Han Solo."
Darth Vader.
Yeah, he gets like, it's a backstory to the name Solo, as if we needed that.
Well, the thing, yes, I know what you're saying. That would be an example of it, because Star Wars, as in the original, New Hope now, it's archetypal. It's the Joseph Campbell
Hero with 1,000 Faces.
Myth. Yeah. So, it's Luke Skywalker. And it's Han Solo, because he's a rebel. He's a lonely rebel.
Yeah.
And then Star Wars becomes this massive thing that loads of people take really seriously. And all of a sudden we have characters called Skywalker and Han Solo. So maybe he's called Solo because he's Solo. It's retrospectively giving a context.
Yeah.
They're like, no, he's called that because that's what the character is. It's like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Even like Darth Vader. The reason he's called Darth Vader is because Vada, is German for father.
Is it? Is that one of those...
No, I think it is, isn't it?
No, it is.
Yeah.
But is it one of those... is it the tomato fallacy?
That would be... What do you mean?
Is that the right word? Have I used the right word there or not?
Tomato fallacy is something that individuals think... Most people think the opposite of, but isn't. They don't actually.
The inverse of the tomato fallacy. Is it one of those things where everybody thinks, he's called Darth Vader because Vader is father?
Yeah.
And he's actually not.
It's actually not. I doubt it. I mean, that'd be one hell of a coincidence, wouldn't it? The twist is that he's his father.
Yeah.
No, that's got to be. He must have known writing Star Wars that at least he must have known Darth Vader was Luke's father.
Well, I mean, there's that whole thing about the Millennium Falcon did the Kessel Run in...
Again, there are Falcons in a galaxy far, far
away.
away.
Exactly, yeah. But it did the Kessel Run in like 50 parsecs or whatever.
Yeah.
And a parsec is a unit of distance and not time.
Yes. Yeah.
So like he might not.
He's a dumbass.
He might not have known.
But I'm going to give him that much. It's just too much of a coincidence.
Okay.
I could be wrong though. But that's why he's called Vader. It's because it's in German, it's Vader,
right.
Father. But then in Revenge of the Sith, it's not even given a context. Like Anakin turns to the dark side, and then Palpatine just goes, "We'll call you Darth Vader." Where'd that come from? What's Vader mean in the Star Wars universe? Did you just put two syllables together?
Yeah.
Like, what was that?
Just like scribbling in his notebook. What should we call him? Darth Lamppost, Darth Black.
You know what I mean? It's like Darth Plumstones.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? What's Vader? Darth Vader. Why, sir?
Yeah.
Oh, because Vader's in German, it means father, and you're going to have a kid, and it's going to be a whole thing. No. Anyway, to bring it back to the Lexicorner.
Okay.
That concept of taking something that might now be considered goofy and grounding it in we're allowed to take it seriously. We're allowed to like it because it's taking itself seriously context. I'm going to call that process desillification.
Desillification?
Yeah. Unsillying
desilly. Okay, see. Okay.
Unsillying a thing.
Desillification.
Desillification.
Okay.
So, Add-aptation and desillification. That was Sam's Lexicorner.
Yeah.
Samuel. Words. Phrases. Sam's Lexicorner.
Shall we do another film review then?
Yeah, okay. Let's do another one.
Let's do Last Night in Soho.
Okay. Yeah, Last Night in Soho. Well, the important thing, really, the reason we watched it, is that it's the next film by Edgar Wright.
Yes, it is.
That's why we watched it. That's why I think a lot of people probably watched it. I mean, the film in its own right, whatever. But yeah, it's the latest Edgar Wright film. And it stars Thomasin McKenzie as a young girl.
Yeah.
So, Edgar Wright's casting is still on point.
Yeah.
And she is a young girl from Cornwall?
Yes. Cornwall.
Yes. And she moves to London to study at the London College of Fashion, during which time she gets her own accommodation. And she finds out that whenever she goes to sleep at said accommodation, she is transported back to the 1960s in Soho, in London, where she's from. But she is either taking the place of or accompanying
in the form of
a woman who existed from that time period, played by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes.
And it's sort of like she's following her ambition to become like a singer, a showgirl of
a Cilla Black.
Yes, a Cilla Black of Soho.
Yes,
of the nightclubs of Soho. And initially, it's such a romanticized, like, oh, this is wonderful. I get to see this girl, and she uses that girl as inspiration for her work in the fashion school. And then, as the film starts to unfold, you find out that things are not going well for this girl, and that starts bleeding into Thomasin McKenzie's life, and
things unfold.
Hilarity ensues. horror ensues. Yeah.
Well, it's self-consciously very different, isn't it?
Yes.
From everything he's done before.
I feel like I have to make a slight. I have to walk something back slightly.
Go on.
I think it was during the review. Well, it would have been, if I said it at all, it would have been during the review for the Sparks Brothers. I probably should have gone back and listened to make sure. As someone who knew what they were doing, would have done that.
Yeah. What did you do, though?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I didn't. I just assumed I did it, and now I'm going to retract it.
Okay.
So who knows if it's even worth doing. But yeah, basically, I think I said during the Sparks Brothers, is the 2021 is going to be the year that Edgar Wright shows us that he can do anything. I feel like I have to slightly walk that back a little bit.
A bit, yeah.
A bit. Like, he has shown us that he can do other things. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe next time you'd like to go back to
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's kind of like, it seems to be a conscious abandoning of old tropes and tricks.
It really does.
There's some in there. There's some stuff in there.
There are flashes of Edgar Wright.
Flashes of Edgar Wright, bits of dialogue. I'm like, oh, that's Edgar Wrighty.
Yeah, and I don't want...
Sorry, the whole so brave. So brave. Like, that's an Edgar Wright.
Oh, yeah. Thing. They're just like, there's low-key mocking the girls, the students.
Yeah.
I don't want this to come across as being like, oh, Edgar Wright purists or fanboys being no, he's different. Why is he different?
No, we loved Sparks Brothers.
We loved the Sparks Brothers. And a filmmaker evolving past their tropes or like modifying their toolkit is not an inherent criticism.
No, we don't want the same album every time.
No, exactly. I mean, like, it's an extreme example, but Danny Boyle, right?
Right. Well, he's different every film.
Yeah, the only time Danny Boyle would ever make a film that was like a film he'd made already was if it's literally a sequel to that film.
Yeah.
Everything he does is different.
Yeah.
But he still manages to be like it's a Danny Boyle film. I'll go see that. He's still like a known filmmaker.
Yeah.
Still a known presence. I'm going to bring it up.
Go on,
because I feel like this is becoming a trope in Edgar Wright reviews. Certainly in our reviews, but I think
a trope. We've only reviewed one film.
I feel like it's a trope. It's something I'm starting to see on the internet a lot. I'm going to bring up the Every Frame a Painting video, Sam.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
going to bring up how to do visual comedy by Every Frame a Painting.
Go on, man.
It's weird, like, I keep thinking of that video as, like, this obscure little video essay that, like, we know about, and we just use because, like, oh, this is a good example, maybe but it's got, like, 9.4 million views.
Yeah, no, it's very... Because it's always recommended.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's, like, a known thing.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, if you know... I imagine if you know about Edgar Wright, you know about this video.
Yeah, probably.
If you have, like, any presence on the internet. But I'm going to bring up that video for one specific reason. When he's talking about Well, like, the whole thesis of that video is that Edgar Wright uses the whole buffalo when it comes to filmmaking. Mm-hmm. He's great at visual comedy because he doesn't just rely on ad-libbing with actors. He uses, like, all of these different filmmaking techniques to create humor at every opportunity.
It's not just setting up a camera and, say stuff.
Yeah. It's the Bo Burnham thing. Every moment can become a comedic moment. Yes. It's that.
Yes.
And one of the examples he gives is the sequence from Hot Fuzz where Nicholas Angel is travelling from London to Sanford.
Yeah.
I said that with some hesitation. I literally watched it last night. I should know it.
What did you watch it for?
Well, I was going to rewatch like bits and pieces of all these films.
Okay.
To make sure that I had my notes sorted and see if anything else generated. But I was like, I'd much rather watch Hot Fuzz. So I watched Hot Fuzz.
Okay.
That's a good film.
It is a very good film.
That's a very, very good film. You're like...
Are we going to review Hot Fuzz now?
No, we're going to try and not do that. Right. But like 10 minutes into Hot Fuzz, he's in Sanford, he's met Danny, he's like, there's so much that film achieves in so little time.
It's a big one, Hot Fuzz. There's a lot of characters and information and details,
Achieves so much.
Yeah.
But he brings up that sequence, and he says that traditionally, in just like a studio-made comedy, what would happen is if a character is travelling from one city to another, you'd have like your B team.
Yeah, your second unit.
Your second unit filmmakers, like the director wouldn't even be there. Probably the cinematographer wouldn't even be there either. And you just have them shooting like footage, like maybe have a drone shot of them going over a bridge in the car, and then you shoot a couple of things with the characters, and then you put it in the editing bay and you stick a pop song underneath it to give it some movement, ironically.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the Hot Fuzz sequence, it's not that at all. And he kind of breaks down like all of the information that's being conveyed to the audience, while kind of showing why the editing of that scene is funny, like the jarring cuts and very, very well done sequence. Last Night in Soho, it does the thing that he was comparing Edgar Wright movies to. It does the thing where it just shows her on a train while a piece of music plays and she's just like watching the scenery go by. It's not as offensive as like a typical studio comedy.
It's also not a comedy.
And it's not, and Soho is not a comedy. That is a big distinction to make. Yes. This is a horror film. We'll get back to all that. But it does the thing. He was like, Edgar Wright movies don't do this, they do this. But this Edgar Wright movie does the thing that he was saying.
Don't get me wrong. I know what you're saying. I'm not defending him. But it's like, the reason that's used as the example is because it's a comic presentation.
Yeah.
This is how you do it in a comedy. This is how you do someone traveling from A to B in a comedy.
Yeah.
In a slower, more psychological film, you could just have a shot of someone sitting on a train. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not... it doesn't require that, like, innovative... Ooh, that's an interesting way of doing that.
Yeah, I suppose my only thing is that sequence doesn't really tell us anything. In Last Night in Soho, it doesn't tell us anything really about the character or about the tone. It just shows her travelling.
Yes.
But the reason I bring it up is because, for me, that became the defining sequence of the film. And it happened pretty early on as well, which I think is what helped set the tone.
When you say defining, as in it became a microcosm for your problems.
Yeah, that was Last Night in Soho in a microcosm for me. It was Edgar Wright, but doing a normal film, not doing an Edgar Wright film.
Sure.
Whatever a normal film means,
Edgar
Wright was doing it. This doesn't feel like an Edgar Wright movie. If you didn't tell me this was an Edgar Wright film, I wouldn't have thought it was.
No.
There are moments where I would have gone, that feels a bit Edgar Wrighty, but I wouldn't have thought this is an Edgar Wright movie.
No, I agree. But I would say that's self-conscious on his part, right? He's trying to not do that.
It happens too frequently for it to not be intentional. It really does feel like he's trying to...
avoid all that.
Yeah, not disguise it. He's not trying to disguise that. He's definitely trying... I think maybe he thought that his style wouldn't gel well with a horror film.
Well, probably it depends, doesn't it? I mean, he's also emulating... He's doing a pastiche of those 70s psychological thrillers, like Repulsion and Don't Look Now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the tricks, he's probably lifting directly from them.
Maybe.
He wants it to feel and look like one of those films.
Yeah.
And I mean, that Shaun of the Dead, the Three Flavors trilogy thing wouldn't work for this.
No. But do you understand why?
No, I do.
For me, that was like, right, that sums it up for me.
I do. It's just not that interesting. It's not that distinctive.
What, my point?
No. Yes. No. Yeah. The style is not that distinctive. It's just kind of... Yeah, anyone could have directed it, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, he co-wrote this with Christy Wilson Cairns, I think her name is.
I think it is. Not his first time co-writing.
No, it's not. No. But that's the thing, though, there's a lot of nifty camera work.
Mm-hmm.
and the visuals are very striking.
Lighting and mirrors.
Well, this is the thing.
Those are the two things that I wrote down.
And the visuals are very striking, but that's the problem. The things, when you watch, we talked about this, American Beauty, what emerges? The performances and the writing and the directing. Like, everything, the quality of that film, it all emerges. Blade Runner, the cinematography.
Yeah.
What emerges from Last Night in Soho in my memory is the lighting.
Yeah.
That's the defining characteristic of this film, and that's just not good enough.
And the way the film plays around with mirrors as well.
Yeah.
Like, very, genuinely well done sequences where, like, Anya Taylor-Joy's walking down the staircase and the reflection is Thomasin McKenzie.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not just, like, a flat shot. It's, like, it's a proper, like, panning shot of the room.
Oh, it's impressive.
Very impressive.
But it's impressive.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know.
Was this inevitable in a way? Not like the type of film that we got. I think Edgar Wright doing a horror film kind of came out of left field for a lot of people.
Well,
like a straight up horror film rather than like an Evil Dead type. You'd think he would do an Evil Dead type film.
Well, he's done that, hasn't he?
Yeah, but like a more like That's
Action.
My relationship with horror.
Yeah.
Is the Evil Dead.
Well,
not
the thing is,
this.
I know what you mean, but the thing, Edgar Wright, he's a proper cineast. Like, if you follow him on Instagram, he'll post just like columns of DVDs that he's watched, and you haven't heard of any of them.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of any of them. It's not like, oh, you, the common pleb, hasn't heard of them. I haven't heard of most of them. There might be one or two in the pile. I go, yeah, I recognise that.
It's that time of the show. How many films have you watched this year, Sam, that came out this year?
260 something.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, but like, you're talking like old 70s films, no fuckers here at all.
Yeah.
He watches everything. And obviously he's a fan of just cinema. He watches everything he can. And he wanted to do that kind of film. So he did that kind of film. And it's probably a reflection as well of quote-unquote maturity. I'm now dropping the shtick of my... He shouldn't. But I'm dropping the shtick of my earlier films. And I'm doing a grown-up film.
Yeah.
I'm doing a non-comedy psychological thriller that has a point, like a feminist point as well. It's
That's the thing, though. He's dropping the Edgar Wright shtick.
Yeah.
He's not replacing it with anything.
He's replacing it with just the idea of a more grown-up, emotionally complex film. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be oh wow, like he's really gone in the other direction with this.
Yeah.
The only thing that's the same is that the visuals are good. But it's just not enough. It felt shallow. It felt shallow.
No, it really did. It
felt like, even though I can't think of a film I've seen that's done this, this also doesn't feel like the first.
It feels familiar.
It feels familiar. Obviously, like I say, it is a pastiche and homage to the films he's done, but he's just done one.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything with it. He's just, you've done one of those films.
There's a couple of failings, major failings of this film. That's one, right?
Yeah.
I know it's unfair. Like, if you've got Shaun of the Dead in your filmography, if you've got Hot Fuzz in your filmography, you've got Scott Pilgrim in your filmography.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
There's a lot to live up to.
There's a lot to live up to. And it's sort of unfair to go like, oh, well, you did this. Why can't you do that every time? It's not fair. But Shaun of the Dead is often brought up as like it's a zombie horror film.
Yeah.
That is supposed to be like a bit of a... It's not quite parody.
No.
It's sort of like...
It's not a parody.
No, it's more pastiche, but it's
a zombie movie.
Yeah.
It is, but it's funny. It's not a parody of a zombie film.
No, but it's like a lot of stuff that happens in zombie movies happens in Shaun of the Dead, and that's very intentional that it's like, oh, we're doing that, but we're doing it this way.
Yeah. They're only out there, though. Zombies. Don't say that word. Why? It's ridiculous. Don't say it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're only out there, though. Oh, no, there they are.
Oh, you're still doing the scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just like, oh, I've wrapped that up. But no, you kept going.
Yeah, go on. Can see it shot for shot in my head. See, that's
yeah, exactly. But no, the problem there is that Shaun of the Dead did a zombie film, but it did it so well it has now become the exemplar zombie film.
Yeah,
like it elevated itself above what it was. Last Night in Soho,
I know what you're saying.
Last Night in Soho is just another one of those films. It's not. It's not.
You're saying Shaun of the Dead was paying homage to this massive heritage of zombie movies, this great lineage of horror films,
and it's
become an exemplar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hot Fuzz as well. It's just it's
an action movie, a comedy action movie.
Yeah. A knowing piss take of American action films, but set in Britain, and it has become like one of the standout. Yeah. It's a standout action film.
Yeah. Like I think they said when they wrote Hot Fuzz, they read the book like 2,000 film cliches.
Yeah.
And they just tried to put as many as they could into it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't feel like that.
No, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a cliched film at all.
Yeah.
Last Night in Soho just feels like another one of the type of films that it is.
The thing is, the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, it had Simon Pegg, and it had all those British actors. Simon Pegg is very, very likeable. And Nick Frost and all those, right? Scott Pilgrim, most of the characters are annoying, but it works because those people are annoying.
Yes.
Ansel Elgort in Baby Driver is quite unlikable, I thought. And Thomasin McKenzie is so irritating. So annoying.
This was sort of going to be my question.
Yeah.
This is why I asked, was this sort of inevitable in a way? Yeah, you've got Three Flavors Cornetto, and then you've got Scott Pilgrim nestled in there as well.
Yeah.
But they were seen as like, they had it all, right? They were genuinely well made, well constructed, brilliantly constructed films.
Yeah.
But they had heart as well.
Yes.
They had characters that you cared about, friendships and dynamics that you were invested in.
Yeah.
Then you had Baby Driver, which had all of the artistry of the Cornetto trilogy and then some, but it lost character. So
yeah, well, the film's a gimmick, is the thing.
Yeah, like the stylistic film that we got.
Yeah.
But also the very cold film that we got in Last Night in Soho. Was it an inevitable in a sense that like he will keep becoming a better filmmaker, but his films will lose. We will lose the connection.
They won't be cheeky. Anymore.
And they won't have people that we like and friendships that we care about, and
there
won't be anything to invest in.
And again, it's
other
not,
than the filmmaking.
It's not us saying that we want you to keep making Shaun of the Dead forever, because we really like the Sparks Brothers, and that was a departure. It's a documentary, for God's sake.
Yeah,
it's like it's a different type of film altogether.
And I mean, in fairness, Edgar Wright didn't have to do this because it was already there, but that has a dynamic that you invest in and care about. You love the Sparks Brothers, and you see the synergy.
The Male Brothers.
The Male... Fuck! I did it again! I've had how long to unlearn that? But yeah, so yeah, was it inevitable that like every film we get from Edgar Wright will be a great piece of filmmaking, but it will matter to us less and less because he's losing that human quality, human dimension?
God, I hope not. But maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it's a shame because it would have been nice to say he's had two films in the same year and they're both knockouts.
That's what I was hoping for. Yeah. That's why I walked back my comments. Because I really thought that this was going to be like...
Well, we can do anything.
Now, as soon as... Like, Sparks Brothers, that was the outlier. That was the wild card, right?
We thought, that could be nothing.
Yeah.
And this one is the one we're looking forward to.
So as soon as Sparks Brothers turned out to be really good, it was like, oh, okay, it's smooth sailing from here.
Yeah, we can trust them.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
That was going to be my other... so there's a couple of major flaws. Yeah. It's the fact that it's, there seem to be diminishing returns with an Edgar Wright film. He gets better, but his films become less human.
Yes.
It's the fact that...
It's winking and nodding to films without carving out an identity of its own. It's just doing it.
Yeah, it's being a genre film, but it falls into just being another genre film as opposed to elevating itself above its own genre.
Yeah.
And I think the other problem as well, which you kind of alluded to, this film is sort of one and done.
In what way?
Like, I feel like I've got everything I need from
I'm never going to watch it ever again.
No.
I'm never going to watch it again.
Edgar Wright films are many things. Mm-hmm. And chief among them is that they're endlessly rewatchable.
Absolutely. You pick up new details every time.
Yeah, like watching Hot Fuzz. Like, I was here... There's, like, a moment where after the guy's house is blown up, and you can hear, like, one of the characters in the background being like, oh, yeah, it's like in Backdraft.
Yes, in Backdraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just catch different shit every time.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's like, I feel like what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is all that's going on.
Yeah, there's no layers.
There's no layering to it, and I've got it. I got it first time.
Yeah, never want to look at it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's profoundly irritating. This thing with characters, Matt Smith's accent is weird.
Yeah, what's he doing?
Because he's sort of accentuating the Cockney, isn't he?
What are they doing? Because we found out that she was from Cornwall.
The character. I think it says in the beginning that she's from Cornwall.
We couldn't figure it out, though. We were trying to tell from her voice.
Because she's a New Zealand actress, right?
Yeah.
So she's just sort of doing like a sort of English accent sort of thing.
Pan-regional British.
But then it becomes Cornwall. It's it goes West Country.
Yeah.
And her voice is so high. And I don't know whether she has a high voice or whether because she's doing an English accent, her voice has gone like more girlish. But it's just sort of fucking... And then we were watching it. We didn't go in with bad will.
No.
I went in thinking...
Quite the opposite.
Yeah. I thought maybe I'm not going to love this.
Okay.
But I didn't... I wanted to. And we were watching it. And then this film starts to doing a little dance and flicking her legs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just turned to you and said, she needs a clout. She needs a fucking clout. She's winding me up.
But that's supposed to be like, oh, look at the character, like at peace with herself. Like, isn't she just like, she's so young and innocent and like ready for the world.
You just want to slap her.
You just want to slap her.
Yeah, Matt Smith's accent is weird because, like you said, it's too close to his own. So it's like, what's he doing?
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, if you know Matt Smith, I don't know if it's a problem if he's like, if this is your first time seeing him. But yeah, if you know him, and certainly if you know him as the Doctor, he's doing an accent.
Yeah.
But it's too close to his normal accent, so it sounds uncanny.
It sounds silly. John is annoying, her real-life boyfriend. He was really annoying.
He was creepy.
Yeah, he was creepy.
There's like a couple... wasn't there a moment where she like propositions him? Like they make out outside the club and she's like, come back
to mine, yeah.
And she's like, I don't know if I want to talk or something.
Yeah.
Like it's a setup, and then he kind of goes, well, maybe we don't have to talk at all.
Yeah.
And it's like his eyes bulge and his lips protrude, and it's like,
yeah, he's a creepy looking guy.
Yeah.
Because he's meant to be like the nice guy, isn't he? He's surrounded by all these misogynists.
I think that's the problem. I think it's that he's so devoid of like, deliberately, he's so devoid of cynicism and nastiness. He's just a pure innocent soul. But I feel like in a film that is making you doubt reality as much as this one, that comes across as suspicious.
Yeah,
why is he so nice?
Yeah,
and the film doesn't do anything with it. He is just genuinely a nice person.
He's a nice guy. They stay together. Yeah,
but there's like little moments like that where it feels like, oh, he's actually like a terrible person, and this is like we're getting a glimpse of that now.
It's like he's going to be the final. She has this experience with all these terrible men.
Yeah,
and then it turns out that he's one of them.
Yeah, you feel like that's the final point. It's like, evil actually hides
like
in all
in Promising Young Woman. When Bo Burnham was part of it as well, that kind of thing. But yeah, so Matt Smith is weird and a bit annoying. John is very annoying, but Thomasin McKenzie is profoundly irritating. Right. And she's the main character. Yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just want to like, for this fucking nostalgia for the 60s. Just like, you just really want to fucking...
It's weird because usually you have to go to university first to become that kind of...
wanker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's like it from the start.
Yeah.
They all are, because she meets her roommate, and her roommate like scribbles out her last name, and she's like, oh, it's much better with just one last name.
She's insufferable. They're all insufferable. But yeah, the writing as well. The theme is very heavy-handed. Men bad. Men abuse women. Men...
Yeah.
She's driving into London. She's in the taxi, and he's like, oh, you could be a supermodel, couldn't you? Without a pair of legs like that. And you're just like, oh, right, okay.
Oh, I'm going to student housing. Oh, they all like you. Oh, I'd break in and fuck you all.
Essentially.
Yeah, whatever it says.
You can't. Literally, a character says that. And Matt Smith says, you what, mate? What you say about my missus?
Well, you've got the copper. The reveal with like the copper.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he was all right.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend's all right.
But the film is about men mistreating women, isn't it? Like, what hides behind the stage, the glamour, and
it's a bit of a...
He pimps her out, basically, doesn't he?
Yeah, so she, like, in the past, Anya Taylor-Joy, she approaches Matt Smith, and she's like, I want to be the next Cilla Black. Or no, she says, I am the next Cilla Black. And Matt Smith's like, oh, well, you got fucking, you know...
But
you got you got to prove it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
You got to prove it.
You got to prove it. So, yeah, so they, like... hook up, and then he gets her an audition at a place, and then Thomasin McKenzie leaves and comes back, and you find out that she's just one of the backup dancers, and then he starts to pimp her out, and she basically just ends up becoming a prostitute.
Yes,
that he's pimping her out to all these different people,
and she kills them all.
Yeah, you're led to believe the whole time that like Matt Smith has killed this poor woman, this poor innocent woman who didn't deserve this. And then, like, at the end of the film, it's revealed that the woman that she is... Spoilers, right? Do we care? Spoilers?
We've already done a spoiler, but yeah.
Okay, spoilers.
Yeah.
The woman that she's renting the flat from is the woman that she's been seeing in the past. And we see... She has a vision of Matt Smith killing this girl, and then she talks to the old woman, and the old woman goes, yeah, I'm that person. And then we see that vision again, and it's actually her killing Matt Smith.
Yeah.
And then she's like, not only that, but I killed all of the men that I had sex with. And throughout the film, like the main source of horror, because it does devolve into just becoming like a horror film, and like a psychological horror film. And the main source of horror is that Thomasin McKenzie is seeing these like faceless men. Like initially in her room, they sort of like creep up to the bed and like unbuckle their belt, and they're like, "Oh, I know what's going to happen." Yeah. And then she just starts seeing them in the street and in the library, and they start to like infect all facets of her life. And then at the end, this is where it got a bit confusing for me, because at the end she like inadvertently starts a fire in this woman's house as the woman is trying to kill. She's poisoned her and she's trying to kill her, stab her on the stairs. Thomasin McKenzie makes her way up to her room. And all of the ghosts, what we learned to be the ghosts of the Johns. Initially, we thought it was just like, trauma hanging around the building. But no, it's actually the ghosts of these Johns. They break into the room and they like grab her and they like hold her down on the bed. And you're like, oh, okay.
Ghost rape.
Ghost rape. And then one of them like picks up the phone and extends it to her and goes, save us. Say, like clearly want to call the police to so this woman can be caught. But all of the, like, you've got that one ghost who's doing it, but then all the other ghosts are still, like, holding her onto the bed. So she can't actually get free.
Right.
That felt a bit weird. Like, the ghosts have revealed their true intentions to her, and yet, basically, all of them are stopping her from doing it.
Yeah.
By holding her down on the bed.
Isn't that just what men are like? Something? Point?
They're like, I want you to do this, but they're actually stopping you from doing it.
Yeah. Come get it. Come on.
Right. Okay. But yeah, so the woman comes up to the room, and then she's like, I've decided I'm just going to burn to death in this room. And
fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah. And Thomasin McKenzie's like, no, you're a good person. Like, you don't...
Oh, yeah, she's a good person.
Yeah, you didn't deserve this. You're a good person. And she's like, yeah, whatever. And then Thomasin McKenzie just leaves, and everything's fine after that.
It's horrible what happened to her, and like rapists should get killed, frankly. But I don't know. There's this thing of like women killing men in films. It's never a bad thing. It's always has a feminist. Even Monster, like Bill Burr talks about this all the time. About the serial killer Eileen Wuornos, murdered men, truckers and stuff, and then it shows her abusive relationships to like show. Oh no, she kind of had a point. It's like no. Yeah,
it does like. Because I think I saw an interview with the co-writer, and she said that was something that she hadn't seen before, something she'd like to do. Like a serial killer that you hate, like someone that you don't agree with, but you understand them. You get why they do what they do.
I've seen that.
But did you, in the case of this character, did you understand why she did what she did?
I understand why she did it. It didn't mean that I was like down with it. Because they didn't rape her. Did they rape her? They just...
I mean, this is the question. Like, she clearly didn't want to do it from the start.
No.
She was pulled into this life. She didn't want any part of it. She was, in a way, like it was Matt Smith was like basically manipulating her into continuing to do this. But yeah, I don't know. This is where it starts to get complicated, isn't it? Yeah. Because like everybody was aware of the arrangement going in.
Yeah,
she clearly didn't want to do it, but she
did it.
And seemingly just. Yeah, seemingly just like...
Inwardly didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Like, she allowed the Johns to do what they went there to do. I mean, we're talking about, like, the
psychology of prostitution. Do we even go down this road?
I know.
Like, it's complicated. They're not good guys. They're not doing a good thing.
Well...
They're not rapists, though. It's different.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
That's the question.
As far as I can remember, by the way, I don't think the film ever said that they.
Well, the film shows her not wanting to do this, and the men wanting to do it. Yeah. So I think from that you're supposed to assume that they're, if not raping her, then like definitely taking advantage of her.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true.
And they're all depicted as like creepy, lechy old men anyway. They're the kind of men that is like, I wouldn't want them anywhere near me.
Background extras and EastEnders.
Yeah, but like I completely understand her killing Matt Smith. That was a long time coming. What he did to her. The men that the impression I got from the reveal was that it was sort of like she killed Matt Smith, and then her killing Matt Smith basically like galvanized her to continue to be a prostitute, but instead of having sex with the men, she killed them.
Yeah,
that feels a bit like okay. Like I get the Matt Smith thing, and I get that this is not a savory activity that these men are wanting to engage in. But I don't know.
It's complicated. I mean, in this case, she's being pimped out, but like, there's a prostitute on a street corner, and I solicit her. Who's in the raw? Complicated. She's offering herself. And
she's not, though. She's not. She's being made to offer herself.
Yes, no, she is being manipulated and abused. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like we can't even say that like. Oh yeah, but she's allowing herself to like.
No.
She's not.
I don't even want to go into it.
No,
I don't even want to go into it.
But that's the thing. I feel like to untangle the message of the film, you kind of do. You at least need to understand your relationship with what the film is depicting.
Well, only because I don't want to go into. I don't think the film is like interesting or giving enough to have like a decent conversation about it. The message of the film is men, not all men, obviously, but a lot of men mistreat women. And there's like a sexism and a misogyny that is blatant, and then there are more hidden versions of it, covert, seemingly innocuous. Misogyny is everywhere, is the point of the film. And I kind of don't even want to go into it even more than that.
That's my question, I suppose. Is the idea that the film is saying, oh, look, all of these men from the 60s are misogynist, sexist, pigs. Oh, isn't it a shame that... is it good that we've moved past that, huh?
But it's not doing that.
No, that's my question. Is it supposed to be like the 60s were actually fucked? You have all this nostalgia for the 60s.
Yeah.
But they were fucked.
Well, that's another thing of the film. Nostalgia is a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it a case of, like, we're using the 60s as an example to show how all men are bad?
Well, no, because the point is that it's terrible in the 60s, but it's also bad now. Again, that taxi driver.
Yeah.
The other guys at university, like, was it? My dick is dead, can I bury it in your ass and all that sort of thing. Like, John is the exception. That's the point. He's the one that's not like that. And that's just an olive branch to men going, we're not saying all of you.
Yeah.
It's just a feminist film.
And the cop as well. The reveal that he's a cop rather than... You're led to believe this old man is Matt Smith.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed, actually, he's a cop that on one occasion...
met her.
Expressed concern.
Yeah.
She was trapped in a lifestyle. Interestingly enough, it didn't actually confirm or deny whether he went on to have sex with her.
Probably not, right?
Probably not, but he did approach her as a John. Because it's part of a sequence where you see her meeting all of these different Johns, and then all of a sudden this guy is like trying to like reason with her, like talk her out of it. But they don't. He might have still. He might have. The film doesn't really.
No, I guess that's up for interpretation.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say about it. Really.
Last Night in Soho.
Brilliant. Brilliant. All that for that, was it?
Yeah. I think that's all of my notes as well.
Okay.
It's a damn shame. It really is a damn shame.
Yeah. Also, Anya Taylor-Joy. Sorry, very attractive lady. Singing isn't that good.
Okay.
Dancing is for shit. Just that little...
but that's the thing. She's an attractive woman, isn't she? She can just flail her arms and it'll be like, yeah, all right.
I suppose so. I'm over Anya Taylor-Joy.
Are you?
I mean, not like she's attractive.
Yeah.
But I'm done with her being like, ooh, she's like mysterious and ambiguous.
Okay.
Just play a person. It's the witch and it's this and it's the Queen's Gate. Just play a person.
Right.
She's impenetrable. You can tell she's a model.
Yeah.
It's all just look.
Yeah, she's got that vibe.
Your eyes, have a long distance relationship.
Yeah, exactly. One's over there. Yeah. One's in a different postcode.
Are we done with Last Night in So, as you say?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not scary.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, we should probably point out that it's a horror film and it's not scary.
Not at all. It's an essay is what it is, really.
It is. But it's not quite Jordan Peele. I know that's like race and this is sexism.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like Candyman where it's like, I'm not even sure that this is supposed to be scary. Like, what is this?
No. It's not as rhetorical and... Yeah, it's not as making a social point. Social commentary as much as... Candyman. It's just an idea. It's like the film's about misogyny and women and all that kind of thing. Because Candyman was like a thesis. Like we're gonna go up and down, explore this fucking incredibly niche subject that we are supposed to care about. But yeah,
because the imagery of the spirits of the Johns.
Yeah.
As far as like a horror, horror scary image goes, it's not bad. Like faceless men that are kind of like jittering and like it's not quite as extreme as whatever the fuck that thing is in the first episode of season 3 of Twin Peaks. The thing in the in the cube. Okay. It's not quite as like as that, but it's kind of like that where it's sort of like phasing in and out of existence and it's like jumping around.
Got a light.
Yeah, not that.
I know.
Yeah, the I don't know what it's supposed to be.
I know. Yeah, it kills the. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, what? Oh no.
Well, that's David Lynch.
Yeah.
What? Oh no. It's not. What? Oh no! And then a 50 song plays. That's David Lynch
in its entirety. I might add. It's like it's fine imagery. It's just not. Again, it's like
it's pretty.
It's not clicking. I don't know why it's not. The horror wasn't clicking.
Oh, it wasn't scary at all.
No,
it's because I didn't care about the characters. That's one of the big reasons.
Right.
I didn't care what happened to her. Didn't like any of the characters. I didn't like Anya Taylor-Joy. I didn't like Thomasin McKenzie.
Yeah.
Obviously, didn't like Matt Smith. I didn't like Diana Rigg. I didn't like the cop. Just it was like.
Oh yeah, Diana Rigg's last film.
It is Diana Rigg's last film. Yeah. For Diana.
Worthy send off.
Could be worse. Could be a lot better.
She got to play a villain, a surprise villain at that.
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay then.
Okay. Done with that. Oh, there's one more.
There's one more point.
Go on.
This point might not make it in, but I feel like it has to be said because I've consulted on this point.
Okay.
So the person I've consulted with might be expecting it to turn up.
Okay.
So we'll see in the cut whether this stays in or not.
Okay.
We were a bit thrown off, weren't we, when she went into her student accommodation and she was sharing a room with a girl.
Oh, well, you certainly were, yeah.
I certainly was. Because I thought, double rooms, that's like an American thing. Yeah. It's weird that they've, like, I'm sure they have them here, but it like every experience I've ever had with student accommodation, it's always been single rooms. So
or multiple. Not multiple. Yeah, single rooms. Yes. I guess I just thought, like, that's definitely an American university thing. I suppose I just put it down to Edgar Wright probably went to college or university in London.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to know London inside out.
He probably is.
So I'll just take him at his word.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
Well, I thought that. I thought, like, if it's either just, like, he found the one place in London that does have double living. Or maybe
it's something you at least do research about.
Yeah.
You don't just, like, so is it not a thing?
But this is the thing. Like, it wasn't, like a deal breaker for me or anything. No. But it's thought, like, I'll double check just in case. And it turns out that was filmed at Ramsey Hall and Ian Baker House.
Okay.
Which we've been to. We've stayed in Ramsey Hall.
Is that UCL?
That's the thing. It's a UCL building. In the film, it's a UAL building. It's University Arts London.
Right.
Whereas it's actually a University College London building.
Okay.
And we've stayed in one of those rooms, and it's a single room.
Yes.
So I thought, right, is the film lying to me?
Yeah.
So I consulted with the friend of ours who actually lived there. And there are double rooms.
Right. Brilliant.
But no, I feel like
Jesus
I thought
Christ.
I asked him, he was like, why did you ask? I mentioned it, and he was like, all right. So I don't know if he's expecting this to show up. And like I said, this will probably get cut because it's nothing. It should have been, I should have integrated.
Because you introduced something that only you were confused about. And then said, but just rest easy, listeners.
It's actually all okay. No, but like I said, I should have found a way of integrating it more comfortably into the review. But I feel like we got pretty like into it straight away. There was no build up in this. We were just like, right, here's what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
So there's kind of no room for detail. But that, I just thought like, the fact that we stayed there as well and I didn't recognize it, was like I should probably check. But there are
double rooms.
There are double rooms.
Rest easy, listeners.
There are double rooms in Ramsey Hall and Ian Baker House, but it's not a UAL building; it's a UCL building.
Right.
So the film did lie to us a little bit.
Is UAL a real place?
Yeah, that's the university she goes to.
Yeah, but I don't know why they invented it for the film.
No. I'm pretty sure it is UAL. Okay. Yeah. So that was last night in Soho.
It feels like that conversation started last night, to be honest. Right. Right, should we do one more film review?
Oh, we have got one more film to discuss.
We have. You've forgotten about it, have you?
Most of it, yeah, in fairness.
Unfortunately, I watched it again recently, so I remade notes, so I have quite a few notes on this one.
Good. I don't think I have many.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just zip through it and you can agree or disagree with me.
Okay, alright.
That film is No Time to Die.
Yeah, it's not one of those, like, oh yeah, we watched this little indie or just like this in the console. No. This is the next James Bond film.
Yes.
This is a film that several times we've attempted to start a marathon for.
Yeah, we were going to review them all on this podcast.
Yeah, we were going to do not all in one episode.
No, one episode. Fucking hell, we're not that mad. Yeah,
the first fun little Funfiltered trivia,
scenes.
whatever. We might have even brought this up before. Like, the original episode 16 was a review of every Sean Connery James Bond film.
Yeah.
And the idea is that we were going to do them in the run-up to No Time to Die.
Yeah.
With the final one being the No Time to Die.
And then it kept getting delayed.
Yeah, and then just like, because it kept getting delayed and there was no certainty, we were like, there's no real point.
And then we just lost the interest.
Yeah. And then No Time to Die came out in the cinema, and then a couple of months passed, and we were like, we should probably watch No Time to Die.
Yeah, we just didn't bother.
Yeah. It's weird, as soon as it came out, I stopped. I was like,
I know, all of a sudden it stopped being at all interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going to review it now.
Yes.
Were we right to lose interest? Yeah, we were. I'll just say quickly, spoilers.
Sure.
You got to say it for this one, haven't you?
Do you?
Considering how it ends.
If only for that, I suppose.
Yeah, just for that.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about everything.
Okay.
Or we could talk about everything.
We could talk about everything.
Let's mention the good things first.
Oh, please tell me.
Okay. It has some nice shots. That's the first good thing. Right? I'm not saying it's a gorgeous film or anything. I'm just saying, oh yeah, it's got a good shot.
This is a conversation that I sort of started with you off air, wasn't it? I'll bring it to the podcast forum now. Do we need to, okay, so when, I think it was the PlayStation 3 era, that, like the 7th generation of consoles, when they sort of kicked in, so PS3, Xbox, whatever, like every single review pretty much, when a game came out, every single review was saying, this game looks amazing.
Yeah.
Because the jump from the PS2 era was so noticeable.
Yeah.
The increase in quality was so noticeable. Even the shit PS3 games looked good by comparison. So every single review was saying oh, this game looks amazing. And if you look back on a lot of those games now, you're like, yeah, I guess they look alright.
Well, of course now, yeah.
Yeah, but because we progressed so much further. And so I think there was just a point where unconsciously everyone just kind of went, every single game that's coming out was saying it looks great. Maybe we should just assume that all games look great and just not bring it up.
I don't think that's...
we should move the threshold of a great looking game.
Yeah, raise the minimum sort of thing.
Are we at that point with cinematography now? Because I really do feel like every film we're talking about, we're complimenting the cinematography. No?
I'll tell you why. You have to give the devil his due.
Okay.
The film looks good. We at least have to say it looks good.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Secondly, our bias is towards films that are critically acclaimed. Those are the films we tend to watch.
Yeah.
So, invariably, well, not invariably, there are some exceptions. They tend to look good, at the very least. If we reviewed all films, we wouldn't be saying that often.
Okay.
Black Widow would be an example of a film I would not say, oh, but at least it's good looking. No, so not everything. I just think, and maybe in 10, 15 years, we'll look back on this and go, oh, it wasn't that good. But obviously, Space Odyssey still looks good. You still admire it for what it is and everything. But it feels it's unhealthy almost, or ungrateful. To just go, oh, let's just assume now, let's expect awesome cinematography. And so it has to be uber awesome for it to be noteworthy.
But that's why I'm sort of putting it forward as, is this something that we need to update?
Yeah.
Because are we just calling what has become standard cinematography awesome cinematography?
I wouldn't say awesome cinematography. I'm saying it's just nice looking. I'm not saying it's amazing. I'm just saying, give it, it looks alright.
No, it does. But at the same time, the way, and genuine question, I'm not being critical of the film. The best looking shots in this film, are they not just on par with good looking shots from most films nowadays? Is the good portions of cinematography in this film, are they really worthy of, oh, this is an example of good cinematography, or this looks really good?
No. The only reason I bring it up is because if this was a really good film, but kind of had the visual style it does, I wouldn't mention it.
Okay.
But because everything I have to say is negative,
right, okay.
It's like, but let's just say what is kind of good.
Okay.
It's got some nice shots.
Sure, yeah.
Ana de Armas is fun in it.
Yeah, I like her.
She should have been in it more.
Yes.
Logan Ash's death is pretty cool. He pushes the car on him.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Just as a death.
Yeah.
The staircase shootout is pretty good.
Yes.
It's alright.
Thing is, I've seen that sequence done before.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
And
I feel like I've seen better... Like, I didn't love Atomic Blonde.
No.
In fact, I don't even think I liked Atomic Blonde. But that's a really good staircase fight sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Might be better than the one in this.
Okay.
The Raid. Is there a staircase fight sequence in the Raid?
That's the film, isn't it? They've tried to wrap it all up. I'm not saying they've done it well. I'm just saying I admire the intent. They've tried to wrap it all up, or at least call back to everything.
To make this a conclusive end.
Vesper, Blofeld, Swan, Felix Leiter, they're bringing it all back. They've tried to make it definitive. And the production problems, and like the delays and everything, don't really shine through, I would say.
Okay.
It's consistent, and it's even sure of itself, but it's consistently dull.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's not like a mess of a film in that way. You just don't give a shit the whole time.
No.
And a good microcosm for this is the opening credits. They have no identity to them because the film doesn't.
Are you talking about the
opening,
animation title sequence?
Yeah, with the song plays.
Skyfall has a lot to answer for. It really does.
Setting up our expectations.
Not just that, but I feel like every film since then, it's like taken too many cues from Skyfall.
Yeah.
While not sort of understanding like why they worked in Skyfall.
Casino Royale's good as well.
Yeah, Casino Royale is great. I wish we had a Casino Royale title sequence again. Because that's like fun and energetic and cool and like James Bond. But now since Skyfall, we've got these fucking dour title sequences with like these like low key ballads. I just want a quick note. My favorite moment of Casino Royale is in the opening credit sequence. Okay,
which is when like the sniper thing shoots 00 in front of the 7 of hearts or whatever.
Oh, right.
And then it transmutes into a computer screen and it says 007 status confirmed.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes back into the credits. Like, they've put a bit of film into the opening credits.
Yeah.
Like, they've advanced the plot a little bit. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. My favourite bit. Because it's like, it gives you tingles and shivers. Like, ooh, who's James Bond? 007 status confirmed. This happened.
And that's not like, oh yeah, the best bit of that film is in the title.
No, it's a great film. Yeah. But like, I just love that moment.
Skyfall, like I said, dour title sequence with like that low-key ballad. I think like every film since Skyfall, it's been this idea that James Bond is this dinosaur.
Well,
there's no place for you anymore, James Bond.
It's not just that; it's that he's becoming human and he's falling in love and stuff, and he's vulnerable.
Yeah,
and so all the songs are just like it's a voice with an echo, and then music comes in a little bit.
Yeah,
and then there's kind of a not very exciting chorus, and it stops.
Yeah, and then and they're all written in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah. We got in the studio and we wrote it.
What's this weird competition with? I wrote a James Bond theme faster. No, just write it better. Yeah, that's what I want.
Maybe give yourself an hour. Maybe 2.
Take 2. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Just listen to it after you've composed it and see maybe this needs more music in this music.
Yes,
and the James Bond being
No Time to Die, the song, it has a same melody, it has the same melody for part of Writing on the Wall. I should have known, I've been here before.
Oh, yeah.
They're very similar. And that's how the songs start, and you're like, oh, it's that.
Yeah. It's even the same fucking font.
How do I live? How do I breathe?
Yeah.
Show me once, show. It's the same thing.
Could you argue that that's like an intentional...
No.
No? Okay.
I'm not giving the devil that much due.
No. But yeah, it's the same font as well in the title sequence. It's the same. Yeah. It's like the same idea of just because they're imagery and
they're always peppered.
I know they all had imagery, but you know what I mean.
But they're always peppered with iconic things from the film. Even Spectre, it has the Mexican Day of the Dead stuff.
Yeah.
This, it's got Rami Malek's mask.
Yeah.
That's the only bit that you kind of remember.
And the rest of it's just oh look, it's a car in the desert now. It's in an hourglass.
It's stuff.
Yeah.
It's just stuff.
Cogs from a clock. Because time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
As Billie Eilish does that.
Oh, yeah. That's all Billie Eilish music, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just like Bond being like this outdated, like, we don't need you anymore. Well, until they do.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
And also, like, I feel like Skyfall added this sort of personal angle, which I feel like not many Bond films have done. The fact that I've got his fucking name again. It's the same actor.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah. I like Javier Bardem. Why am I forgetting him? Yeah, like he's a former 00, and he's got like he's basically like he filled the role of James Bond before James Bond came along for M.
Yeah.
And so it's like this weird, like almost love triangle between the three of them.
Yeah, it's a toxic kind of love
triangle. Bond is sort of
cousin mummy and stuff, doesn't
it? Bond is kind of pulled into this toxic, like pseudo love triangle. Yeah. And then like in Spectre, obviously they like bring in Blofeld, but he's like he's like his adopted brother. Now in this, there's like this Rami Malek, the cold open, because of snow. The Rami Malek goes to Léa Seydoux' house when she's a kid.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because she's like, Madeleine, come downstairs, but in French, and she's like, yes, oui, maman. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to care that he kills them.
Oh, because they're French. Yeah. We knew she was French, Sam.
I know.
Is this a revelation to you?
I know, but yeah.
But yeah, he like goes to the house to kill the father, but he ends up killing the mother, and he tries to kill the child version of Léa Seydoux. And then later on in the film, Léa Seydoux is a fully grown woman, and Rami Malek is the exact same age.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
No, because his face is under the mask the whole time, so I think that's how they try to get around it.
Yeah.
But he's same stature, same everything.
Yeah.
He hasn't aged. Rami Malek is 40, right?
Okay.
Léa Seydoux is 36.
Right.
Rami Malek should be like at least in his 50s.
I didn't think of that at all.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that at all.
But no, he's got the same scarring and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So it takes way too long to get going. And when it does, everything feels inconsequential.
Yeah.
What's the highlight of the film? What's the best bit of the film?
I suppose...
You've forgotten it, haven't you?
Have I?
Forgotten the film?
A lot of it. I remember the forest fight, because that death is in it.
Yeah.
The henchman death.
Yeah.
I remember the opening scene on the bridge, where he like the guns come out of the headlights and he does a spin.
Yeah.
I remember...
The motorbike got going
21st night of September. I remember that.
Right, okay.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
The motorbike's part of the same sequence.
Yeah.
I remember the opening sequence. I remember the forest, and I rember Ana de Armas. That's what I remember.
Okay, right. It's like a 2 and a... How long is it?
It's nearly 3 hour film.
It's long.
Yeah.
So that's not really acceptable.
No.
There's nothing majorly memorable. It's a copy and paste Bond film.
Yeah, because like Skyfall, that's sort of another film. Not as concretely as like Shaun of the Dead or Scott Pilgrim in my case. But that's a film that I could probably like recite to you scene by scene.
Yeah, same.
I remember. I remember each scene. I remember the purpose of each scene. I remember the order. Like there's great dialogue scenes, there's great character scenes, there's great action scenes, one after the other, all visually striking. Spectre was peaks and troughs.
Yeah,
mostly trough. But there's still stuff about that I remember. I remember Day of the Dead.
I remember it. Sam Mendes. It's still Sam Mendes.
Yeah, I remember the snow.
The train fight, I remember.
The train fights, I remember. I remember the first Spectre meeting. I remember when they're going down the mountain in the snow.
Yeah.
There's a lot from Spectre I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, No Time to Die hasn't...
Nothing.
Like, even Quantum of Solace, I remember the money shot from the trailer, right? Where he's falling in the cables, and then it kind of like untangles him and he fires at the camera.
Yeah.
I remember at least that.
I remember there's a plane shootout. I remember that. I remember the fight in the exploding oil complex building.
Don't remember that.
Don't remember that. There are things I remember. Yeah, I'm not going to remember anything from that. I'm going to remember the trailer, which was that. It's stuff.
Yeah. No, that's a good metric, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this film I'm going to remember that isn't in the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's all like I said, they've tried to make it the definitive Bond film. It's got all the characters, it's got the Aston Martin, it's got an island layer, it's got, all that. It's all the ingredients in a massive blender.
It's got Dr. No.
Basically. And the result is less than the sum of its parts.
Is he supposed to be Dr. No?
No, he's not. I don't think this is a thing at all, to be honest.
Because I suspect,
and
I know that you're going to like write me off again.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Okay.
But there's just too much where it's like, I feel like he was supposed to be Dr. No, and then when the project was delayed or during redrafts or something, they thought, why is he Dr. No? Let's just make him his own thing. Because there's just too much. It feels like the whole island lair thing, and just the way that he looks, and like there's moments peppered throughout the film. Just the fact that he's in Jamaica, like those dots you get in the. And I know that could just be like, oh, we're calling back to old Bond films. There feels like there's enough of Dr. No in there, though, that he might have at one point he was supposed to be Dr. No, and then they just changed their minds.
I mean, maybe. You know, I don't know. Maybe you could be right.
Because it really does feel like they were building up to be like, oh, Rami Malek's going to be someone.
Oh yeah, he's nobody.
No, fucking nobody.
No, Lucifer Safin is his name. Yeah, really? Lucifer Satan. That's his name.
Exactly,
yeah. Bond's last kill is the devil.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then himself. Big spoiler.
Oh, yeah. That's it. No, there's nothing left to spoil now. No. Bond dies. We did it. We spoiled it.
Yeah. So let's talk about Rami Malek and that character, because I think the big problem with the film is it's inconsequential. It's unmemorable.
Despite being the definitive end.
That's the big problem. And then there are two other big problems, I would say.
Okay.
Rami Malek is one of them. He just pouts. That's all Rami Malek does. He pouts. I don't know what accent he's attempting, other than pan-villain.
Yeah.
I just like to be tidier about it.
Yes. Mr. Bond, I am evil.
He's meant to be sinister, but he just resembles a disfigured duck. He does, doesn't he?
Why duck? Because that works.
Because of the duck lips.
Okay.
You say because it works.
Yeah. Rami Malek and I go, yeah, duck.
Yes, though. He did his Freddie Mercury as well, doesn't he? That's the we were talking about this. Is he a good actor? And we were talking about how we define a good actor. It's someone that can do something different in things.
Yeah.
In everything that they're in. Not everything, but they have range. And doesn't. He's great as Elliot and Mr. Robot. Perfectly cast.
Yeah.
But it's like he can't really do anything else.
No.
Freddie Mercury, he's like mercurial and weird. He's not Freddie Mercury. He's not charismatic. He's weird. And as Safin, he's like a wallflower nerd. He's not with bug eyes.
Yeah.
He's not a villain. He's not this sinister villain. You just go, what are you doing? So I don't think he is a great actor. I don't think Rami Malek is a great actor. Like, he has to prove me wrong.
Okay. Elliot's not enough for you.
Elliot's great.
Yeah.
He's great as Elliot. But it's and fine if that's all he ever does. But like everything he does now, it's just the same kind of thing, Here's the thing. It's not hard to create a decent villain. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not hard. And the Craig era has suffered a lot from the absence of great villains. You've got Silver in the middle. Bardem. Amazing.
Yeah.
Best Bond villain ever. And then the rest.
I like... I know that he sort of meets an anticlimactic fate.
Mads Mikkelsen.
But I like Mads Mikkelsen.
I will say it works for that film because the whole point is it's grounding Bond in a proper realistic context. And even though he's got the scar and everything, the whole reason they're playing poker is because he's gambled away his client's money on the stock market and it's crashed or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's got his, they've got their sights on him. So he's got to win all the money back. So he's just fucking panicking because he's nobody. They're just going to execute him.
Yeah.
And they execute him.
Yeah.
It works. Who's the villain in Quantum of Solace?
Oh, I have no fucking idea.
Javier Bardem then.
Yeah, that's good.
And then it's Christoph Waltz as Blofeld. On paper, brilliant. Not in practice. And in this, it's a disfigured duck.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, I know. When the thing
Blofeld's little cage.
Yeah, when it was like moving to the top. Yeah. And also, very quickly, it's Blofeld, right? And there's this whole thing in the film that we'll get onto about nanobots. And like Bond kills Blofeld by touching him, basically. And Blofeld dies just off camera. He's like, oh, look, he's dead. And he's just like, thinked over and... Blofeld!
There's a couple of things like that. I know you complimented the film for feeling like it doesn't suffer from production errors.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things, though. And I don't know whether it is symptomatic of production error or whether it's just... I know this is a 3-hour film, but we still don't quite have enough time, so we just have to wrap it up quickly. Yeah. All of Spectre die in this film.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah. There's that one party that Bond goes to.
Oh, yeah.
Where the nanobots are supposed to kill Bond, but then they kind of invert the coding.
Yeah.
So it actually kills everyone who isn't Bond.
Right.
Except Ana de Armas for some reason.
And the Russian scientist.
And
Nomi.
Yes.
More on whom in a minute.
Yeah, so all of Spectre die because they all attended one party.
Yeah.
And then, Blofeld dies off screen. We find out that Blofeld was actually running Spectre from prison.
It was I.
Yeah, like we don't see it. Because that could have been like a fun little scene where they're like, Blofeld, we know you're involved, and then they kind of figure out that he's got like a bionic eye. But no, like Bond just goes to see him in prison, and like, oh, by the way, Bond, you had a bionic eye, and we've taken it out. It's fine now.
Yeah. Very quick note about that. Actually. I've got a list of things, like little shit things, and one of them is that M line where they worked out that Blofeld is kind of conducting his affairs from prison, and he's like, scan the room, scan the prison, scan the whole damn man. Like, no, that doesn't.
It doesn't scale properly.
Yeah, it doesn't scale. Yeah, that doesn't. Search every room. In fact, search him. Like, what are you talking about?
It's huge. It's enormous. It's big.
Exactly. It's huge. It's enormous. It's a bloke.
But yeah, his fucking little cage. I guess the idea is that it's supposed to be intimidating, right?
Sinister.
He's at the end of this long corridor, bound in this cage. Like, he's so dangerous, they won't even let him move on his own.
It's a supervillain cage. It's Hannibal Lecter meets Magneto kind of cage, isn't it?
But he's at the end of this little corridor. And then, whatever name Leia's to do is like, oh, I can't be around him, Bond. Because she knows that she's infected with nanobots that will kill him. But she frames it as her being, like, scared of him. She's like, I can't do it. She's panicking. Trying to get out of the room. It's got, like, mid-shot of Blofeld, like, slowly squeaking his way towards the camera.
I tell you what it reminds me of in retrospect. Work outing in IT Crowd when Roy's being elevated onto to the minibus. He's just staring at them.
Whatever. How on earth would you characterize his face when he's on that little lift?
Oh, his whole attitude when he's supposed to be disabled. I don't even know. Yeah, there's no word for it.
I don't know how.
Disabled. It's just kind of.
I don't know how they put it down on the page.
No.
Or what they said to him when they were filming.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
Just be weird. Same as like Father Paul in Midnight Mass. Like, how was that?
Yeah.
Deliver it like you're just kind of discovering it, and maybe, you know, like, what was the direction?
Yeah.
But you get a sense they just come up with it on their own.
Yeah. You know? But yeah, Blofeld's a little fucking... That was a weird scene, though. And I'm sure... I don't know if this is a point that you're going to bring up with Daniel Craig. But, like, Blofeld eventually arrives in the room with Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
His fucking little cage. And then Daniel Craig is because I think the purpose is that he needs to get information from Blofeld. I don't know what specifically.
I can't remember, to be honest.
Nor can I. Yeah. But he's like... So, of course, James Bond, we all know what James Bond is like. And then Blofeld's suddenly in the room and he goes, Blofeld, my man, I have something to run by you.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing this weird, like, overly chummy, like...
Yeah, Craig in this film is weirdly stilted.
Yeah.
He was kind of an Inspector as well, but in this, it's like he's lost it. He's great in Knives Out.
Yeah.
But in this, it's just... He talks weirdly. Well, in the first opening sequence where he grabs Madeline, he's like... Well, what have you told them? He just says...
It's like Sean Connery coming through
really
almost.
Strange.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like, Blofeld, I want to ask you a question. Blofeld's like, okay.
Yeah.
So again, it's like supposed to be this tense, like, oh, he's meeting his...
It's supposed to be Batman and the Joker.
Yeah, but you've got fucking Daniel Craig being like, so Blofeld, where are all the weapons at? Huh? Yeah. And Blofeld's just going, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like...
I can't even remember any of Blofeld's lines.
No, it's like Blofeld was from, like, Limbo, you know, the film that we... was just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like one word stoic answers, just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then James Bond's like, come on, Blofeld, you can... So weird.
It's like Leslie Knope and Ron Swanson.
Which is like, that's not Batman and Joker.
It's not... Well, kind of is.
I mean, they're completely different. They're like polar opposite characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not, you know.
Yeah.
it doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
But that was just such a bizarre... That whole sequence is just so bizarre to me. Because it's just so... I found it so funny, and I know that it wasn't supposed to be.
No, definitely not. Okay, another big problem. Nomi.
Oh, 007.
007.
007.
It's... Okay, her presence in the film, it's not as pushy or preachy as one might expect.
No, it's not quite... oh, don't you understand? She's 007 now, and she's great, and she's amazing, and you're a bad person.
But Lashana Lynch is annoying.
Yeah.
And it's because she hasn't earned any of the cockiness or the one-liners. Like, there's a moment... she kills the Russian guy. She kills the scientist, right? I think he says something like, wouldn't it be good if we could erase a whole race of people? And then she goes, you know what time it is? Time to die. Like, oh, she gets the title or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she kicks him off the thing. And when Bond does something like that, you're either like, well, that's cool, or you just kind of... With her, it's like, you just murdered a man. You just murdered that man.
What?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I don't know why it's different, but it is.
That was going to be my question, because Bond is like your typical, like, oh, he's just cool. He can just do things.
Yeah.
And yet, when you have Nomi trying to fill the same role, because she is kind of like they're kind of trying to make her like Bond. It's not as if like, oh, this 007 is the complete opposite to you. It's the same archetype she's filling. Is it just that?
I think it's right. She's not. It's not because she's black. It's not because she's a woman. It's because she comes fully formed.
Yeah.
We see Casino Royale. We've seen him become that. I mean, he starts a bit of a prick, but he starts reckless. Like that whole embassy shootout. He just murders everyone in the embassy.
This version of James Bond, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has some growing to do before he becomes the James Bond that we know. I'm reminded of Dr. No, though, and this is something that we brought up in the episode that never came to be. The first time we see James Bond, it's like a proper iconic. It's like they knew this was going to be an iconic character.
Yeah.
Because you're introduced to him through the James Bond trope.
And the camera pans up.
And he's in his suit. And it's like, oh, there's James Bond. He's just there now.
Yeah.
So, like, he sort of comes for... I think he does struggle throughout Dr. No. He has moments where he's, like, on the back foot. And,
yeah.
But he does kind of come fully formed.
Well, that's not his origin story, is it, crucially? Like, they just did a James Bond film. I guess, obviously, the books were popular. But, yeah, she just comes straight out of the gate, like, she's confident and she's sassy, and not in that way.
No, but she's like, she's of equal... The only reason she fails is because James Bond makes it so.
Yeah.
If he'd left her alone, she would have succeeded at everything.
Well, there's a point in the film where, like, because she's the new 007, and then when they're about to go into their final mission...
Yeah.
They refer to her as 007, and she says, I would like to request that James be reinstated with his old number. And he looks at her like, oh, wow. She says, it's just a number. Which is like a thing to the audience going, stop being so fucking precious about...
Yeah.
But, if it's just a number, why bother then? Why are you asking it to be reinstated? If it's just a number, why are you bothering?
Yeah.
Do you know, it's that you can't have it both ways.
I think filmmakers nowadays forget that characters have to endear themselves to you.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, here's this guy, you like this guy.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to get to know him a bit,
yes.
You know?
That used to be what the first 30 minutes of film were for.
Yeah.
You know?
Like Hot Fuzz, very recent example for me, because I saw it yesterday.
Yes.
Nicholas Angel, like the first minute or two of that film is just like, here's Nicholas Angel, here's how amazing he is. God, he's so amazing. Fuck! He's so good! And then, like, the whole reason that they're sending him to Sanford is because he's too good.
Yeah, he's making them all look bad.
He's making them all look bad. But then you're immediately, like, you, like, meet his partner, his ex-partner now, and, like, they're revealing to you, like, oh, this is, like, where he comes a cropper.
Yeah.
Like, he's emotionally disconnected, and he's actually very lonely, and he knows that he's, like, married to the job. That sequence in the pub where he ends up, like, sending all of the kids... He notices that everyone in the pub is a kid, and he, like, gets them all kicked out. Like, you can see him trying to resist the urge to do it. Yeah, it's like he sort of knows that he's, like, too committed to being a police officer.
It's the same with Danny, isn't it? It's the whole thing of, like, you gotta learn to relax, or it's like, I don't know how. It's like, you know, that rom-com scene.
Yeah. It's like, that character comes out of the gate, like, here he is, he's great, he's the best. But you still, like, the film still endears you to him.
Yes.
You get him. You get what he needs to learn.
And we don't get that with her.
No, she's just there.
Yeah. So that's her. She's a problem. Every Bond film, as you alluded to earlier, since GoldenEye, has dealt with Bond's obsolescence.
Well, since GoldenEye?
Really, since GoldenEye.
Wow. Okay.
Like, not just him being old, like a dinosaur kind of thing, but just being a spy is obsolete.
Right.
Especially the Craig ones, obviously. And they've all dealt with the changing nature of spycraft. Like, basically, you'll have some version of this line in every film. It used to be Russians in hats and alleys, and now it's like code and pixels on the ether. Like that, you'll get some version of that line. It's drones now, man. It used to be B-2 bombers.
It used to be the Taliban, now it's bytes.
Yeah, there's a version of that in this, where M says something like that. We used to know who the enemy were, now we don't even see them. Something like that.
Right.
And like Skyfall did that. They're all hacky now. They're all hackery. Yeah.
That's the thing. You did it in Skyfall, and I understand that like doing films after Skyfall, it feels a bit hollow because like we just did the whole James Bond is obsolete thing. I know like the resolution was sort of saying like, oh, you still kind of need James Bonds in the world, but why would you do it again?
Yeah, exactly. We're done with that now.
You've done it.
Something else.
You've done it, and you've done it well.
Yeah.
I know that it might be difficult to think like, oh, what can we do after? Oh, you're kind of obsolete.
Yeah.
But yeah, you did it. Like I don't understand this obsession with just reiterating
it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then nanobots. So nanobots. The year's 2021.
Yes.
Nanobots are a staple of noughties sci-fi. Basically, if you're making a sci-fi film in 2004, it's going to involve nanobots,
yes,
including the James Bond game Everything or Nothing.
Oh, right.
In which they're like the main threat, basically. Aren't we past nanobots? Nanobots are so 2005.
They're so past them. I don't know. Are we at the point now, technologically speaking, where nanobots are like a legitimate, that could be reality soon?
Maybe, but you know what I mean? It just feels like, I don't know, the word nanobots.
Not the way they're being depicted in No Time to Die.
Yeah.
The way they're being depicted in No Time to Die is very 2004.
Well, it's ridiculous in
Yeah.
Touch someone and they die.
Yeah.
I made it so that if you touch your wife or daughter, then they'll fuck off. Fuck off. And I realised they did a little trick in that as well. Because Bond basically says, come bomb the base before he finds that out.
Oh, right.
And that's just so we go, oh, it's not just because he can't touch the wife and kid. He would have done that anyway.
Right.
He's James Bond and he's brave.
He's such a brave man.
Brave man. Why did I felt the need to respond to that as Moss going, I made a mistake?
What? Why?
It's got nothing to do with that. I think it's just the way you said it.
Who made a mistake?
Nobody.
All right.
The sentence means nothing.
Okay.
I think it's just the way you said it. In my head, it just saw Moss going, I made a mistake. Okay, so...
Maybe we need to watch the IT crowd again.
Maybe,
That's twice we've referred to it now.
It's, let's talk about some of the little niggly problems.
We're not going back to 007 again, are we?
Okay. Black.
Racism.
Well, Felix, actually. The thing
interesting. Okay.
In this, Felix is killed. And
He
dead. And, it's this whole thing, this brotherhood between Bond and Felix. Bond is the only person Felix trusts. And there's a moment when he kills Logan Ash, who's the man that kills Felix. He says something like, hey, brother, want to help a brother out? Or something like, he's like, I had a brother, and his name was Felix. And it's awkward, especially in this film, because Blofeld is his brother as well.
Yeah.
Because, that line doesn't really... Anyway, point being, Felix Leiter is a character in the James Bond series of novels, and he's popped up in some of the films randomly, always played by a different actor. And then Jeffrey Wright is in Casino Royale. He's a CIA agent, also undercover at the casino. And he says to Bond, look, I fucked up. We will stake you as long as the CIA get taken Le Chiffre.
Yeah.
That's it. He's in Quantum of Solace, in a scene that Bond isn't even in. And then he's in No Time to Die, and it's like they're brothers.
Yeah.
When did that happen then? I haven't bought into that relationship at all.
No.
They're just... I mean, you meet hundreds of people in the SP. You're going to meet people from fucking Russia and Norway and France.
Bond probably has a closer relationship with Q than he does with Felix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're brothers.
Yeah.
No, not this Bond.
No.
Not this Bond. Q and the Watch, that was a weird thing. Where twice in one scene, he's in his house, and he's gay in this, isn't he? Don't they imply that he's gay?
Oh, yeah. Initially,
John's coming around, or something.
Stefanos is on his way. In Skyfall he was young. In Spectre he had cats, and in No Time to Die he's gay. That's Q's character arc.
Yeah, because Ben Whishaw's gay. It's like, we can make Q gay.
Right.
Twice in one scene they ask him the time, or they allude to time, and he kind of does this weird thing where he really quickly raises his hand up to pull back his sleeve and then look at his watch, as though that was a character thing. But he does it twice in one scene, ooh, up, and then looks at his watch.
Okay.
Just a weird thing that I noticed. Why? What's that about?
Okay.
I was like, is that a weird callback to the...
To Surge?
No, to the the watch advertisement in Casino Royale. On the train, Rolex. It's the best, or whatever it is.
Oh, I think Rolex have, they've done an advert for every Bond film, right? It's Rolex, it's Heineken, and there's, an airline as well that I think tie into Bond.
Okay. But is that what that is? Are they trying to show us the watch?
Maybe.
Anyway. Maybe. Also, whenever Bond is with his family, not just with Madeline, but when he meets his daughter, and when they leave on the speedboat, it's golden hour. It's the rule is, if Bond is with his family, the sun is just setting, and it looks like a picture. It's idyllic.
Oh, that's the new thing now, right?
Film of golden
The
hour.
Revenant, Chloe Zhao.
Yeah, that fucking bitch.
Yeah, it's all a golden hour now.
And I just want to highlight one sentence that shows how silly the film is, really.
Okay.
And that is said with a completely straight face, as Q is directing them through the maze of the island. You're at the edge of a toxic merry-go-round.
Right.
And that's all I've got to say about No Time to Die.
Yeah, why was there acid rivers at the base where they manufacture the microbots?
Oh, because it's Dr. No.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is Dr. No. That's the problem, is that it's not Dr. No, but it is Dr. No.
Yeah.
What was Dr. No's plan? What was he up to?
I can't remember Dr. No's. It's different in the book and it's different in the film.
Okay. Because they went to an island base and he was like manufacturing something.
Yeah, that's how he dies. He slides into like the pool of...
Yeah.
In the book, he's buried alive under guano, which is bird poop.
Ooh, okay.
That's how he dies in the book.
I see.
Yeah. Are we done with No Time to Die?
Yeah, it's really boring.
Really boring.
It's really boring, and as you
really
say, it's inconsequential, which, given that it's the grand finale, is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Not a recommendation from us, I don't
think.
Not
a recommendation. Skip it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything out of it.
Where does it sit in the Daniel Craig quintology?
Do you know what? I don't know. Skyfall is the best. Casino Royale is the second best. And then I'll let you know, kind of thing. Like,
okay.
Everyone's put it third.
Right.
I'm not convinced it's better than Quantum, even.
I'm only saying it is because I literally remember so little of Quantum.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if it's better than Spectre.
Okay.
Because Spectre, at least, like, there are things I remember about it. Cinematography is great. Direction is really nice.
Yeah.
Script is awful. But, you know, it looks really visually memorable.
Yeah.
And it made me angry, that film.
Right.
This, I just kind of feel... How can I not be excited about James Bond? About a James Bond film? I grew up on James Bond. I love James Bond.
No, you're right.
It's an event to go and see James. And I just, as soon as it came out, we didn't even see it. It was like just felt like, nah, I wasn't gonna.
Yeah, we didn't even see it in the cinema.
No, we didn't. No, we watched it at home.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to end on a downbeat note,
but end on a downbeat note. We shall.
Yeah, that's it, right?
That's it. That's all I've got.
You're welcome for a relatively short episode.
Relatively short, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.